Learn more about American Humane's other work, including their efforts to rescue animals in need, certify the humane treatment of farm animals, help ensure the safety of animals on the silver screen, and protect our planet's amazing endangered species at AmericanHumane.org.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower use for adults only.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. If you think buying them is harmless, think again. Counterfeits are usually made with hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals. Remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the top regulator over Wall Street, the Inspector General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, H. David Kotz, who indicates how Wall Street is rigged.
In the federal government, management is often a big challenge. Get the manager to do the right thing. It's a great concern.
The Chief Accountability Officer over the federal government, the United States Comptroller General, David Walker, further explaining the dilemma facing all Americans.
If we have another recession, the federal government doesn't have any more tools in its toolbox.
Hear these experts and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Spring Mill Manor, November 14th. Registration is required. 1-800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at St. Ignatius Church in Yardley, Saturday, November 4th, and at the Sillersville Theater on Saturday, November 18th.
Show is awesome, wonderful, excellent.
Show was awesome. Merrill Reese was really funny. I thought the Charles Barkley stuff that he did was funny.
I actually looked him up online. I was kind of scared.
That's Conklin's comedy show at St. Ignatius Church in Yardley, November 4th, and the Sillersville Theater on November 18th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Tuesday, October 24th. It is indeed Kayal and Company right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and, of course, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube. As we head until 10 o'clock this morning, 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal. Dawn Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers. So you're saying there's a Game 7. Dawn, you called it.
I did. I had a bad feeling.
Did you hear that, Philadelphia? Blame it on Dawn Stensland.
Psychic.
She forecasts the weather, Game 6s.
Have we ever had a Game 7?
According to the stats, no. So that should go over well. But I have faith. I have more faith that the Phillies will win tonight than the GOP will figure things out at 9 o'clock this morning. But that's neither here nor there. Gregory, how are you?
Hopefully we hit more balls today than the Phillies did last night.
Yeah. Not great when you can't hit balls.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah. Or take advantage of a pitcher that looked like he was on the ropes from Jump Street and, let him off the hook multiple times. And by the way, can I just say this?
Yeah.
I'm sick of Alec Boehm.
Uh-oh.
And I'm sick of Mr. Rojas as well.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Well, he's not good at bunting. You're a Major League Baseball player and you can't bunt. They teach you that when you're 6.
It's true.
Jesus.
It's a good point.
They're all good.
They should. Well,
They're
most
good.
of them. Most of them. Big bounce back tonight, though.
Big.
We don't have to bounce back on this show, though, because we don't have days like that.
Yeah, baby.
We got a lot of good stuff to get to today, including how George Floyd was nothing more than a pawn for the left. We will explain and elaborate. Also, the left and liberalism when it comes to Israel. That story along the way. And, what's interesting is I'm not sure what is worse. How left-wing rags and newspapers and publications that are dying have supported the pro-Palestinian Hamas cause, and I know those are maybe technically two different things, or the fact that both the Inquirer and the New York Times make just unreal and oblivious mistakes.
Shocking.
We just got to get to that as well. So
and they always criticize us for putting our foot in our mouths.
I know.
We all talk for a living, and
yes,
occasionally don't say things as eloquently as we like to.
That's me on the daily.
But these are two major newspapers.
Yes.
And they just blatantly put crap in there, and people like they get by somebody.
I know.
They're getting by somebody.
Like whatever happened to I remember my first newspaper job in 2006, there was a big editor desk, and the guy had 4 20-inch monitors.
Yeah.
And anything that was submitted, whether it was a box score or a column or anywhere in between, was scanned word by word.
Yep.
That doesn't happen these days anymore.
Well, it would be like me sitting here, and everybody on this show on this station must submit everything that they're going to say for my approval before you say it.
Yes, and then you don't actually proofread and editorialize, if that's a word. But anyway, that's why journalism's dying. But Dawn Stensland is still here, and she's an award-winning journalist, and she's not dying, she's thriving, because she's got news. 6:05, round 1, the great Dawn Stensland.
Yes, and obviously we'll talk about Game 7, history in Philadelphia. We need the fans to be louder than ever. We want historic levels of loudness at the game tonight. We'll talk about it all in the news this morning. We're starting out chilly in the 40s, and I'll tell you about the summer-like warm-up that is in store this morning. But it is a solemn morning in Philadelphia as the city buries one of its finest, one of our finest, Officer Richard Mendez, more than 20-year veteran of our police force here in Philadelphia, killed in the line of duty while trying to stop a break-in, try to stop thugs from breaking into cars at Philadelphia International Airport. He will be laid to rest after a public viewing and funeral service, public viewing last night as well as this morning. And police say those suspects fired at Officer Mendez and another officer, his partner, longtime friend. But Officer Mendez was killed. His colleague and friend, Officer Raul Ortiz, was shot but survived, continues to recover. And so this morning we expect a procession. And then as well, we expect that procession down to the Basilica here in Philadelphia. So that will all begin 8 a.m. So we'll talk about that this morning, and obviously honoring his life and thinking about his widow, his family, and as well law enforcement from across the nation, not just across the city. Last time I'm told it was more than 500 people.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, it was packed.
Okay.
Goodness. So, it's just it's a sad morning for Philadelphia as we think about this, because for us we grieve and we think about the family, but for the family it's a lifetime, and that's what we talk about with how ridiculous the crime in our city has escalated to. We do have U.S. Marshals and Philadelphia police arresting finally this 5th suspect. It's been a year, more than a year. 5th suspect arrested in that deadly 2022 shooting right in the shadow of Roxborough High School. And so that suspect, 17-year-old Dayron Bernie Thorne, taken into custody in Philadelphia's Germantown section. He has eluded and evaded authorities now for a year, and they've arrested him. The final suspect wanted for gunning down a 14-year-old football player outside Roxborough High School, September of 2022. So the 17-year-old, I guess he jumped out of a window.
This is the Nicholas Elizalde case?
This is Nicholas Elizalde. This was right when we started Kayal and Company.
I remember it.
And we had talked about it because you were a high school football player in this area, and we talked about, just a 14-year-old. This was a scrimmage.
Yeah, basically a freshman in high school.
And 14-year-old, straight A student, great kid, not in any way involved in anything other than just trying to live his life and be a great kid, Nicholas Elizalde. So there were many tributes, in fact, to his mom, Meredith, and his grandmom, because we've, interviewed all of them, and we've, talked to all of them. If they've just wanted justice in this case.
Hard to believe it took a year to find the fifth and final suspect.
Well, apparently he fled to out of state, and they had heard that. They continued to look for him, working with the feds, local authorities, regional authorities. That's what it took, Nick, a whole year.
Yeah, you said U.S. Marshals were involved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So jumped out a window in boxer shorts and T-shirt, was trying to get away.
Well, I did that once when I was 16, but I was trying to go see my girlfriend in the back alleyway while my mom was asleep.
Stop. Every mom's fear, like, don't you jump out the window for a girl, for crying out loud.
That's right.
We do have so much happening as we think about the Israel-Hamas war, as that situation still. Hamas releases 2 more hostages. We had told you over the weekend about 2 Americans, a Chicago mom and her teenage daughter. They were released. Now we have 2 more hostages released by Hamas from Hamas custody, and they've arrived in Egypt at the border with Gaza, and that's according to Egypt's state affiliate, state-controlled news agency. So the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, they say soldiers are conducting training exercise ahead of this potential ground incursion into Gaza. They're still holding off, and we've talked about this every single day as this delicate negotiation goes on. Vital humanitarian aid past the Rafah crossing there from Egypt into Gaza, and that happened yesterday while the warnings go out that the situation in the enclave's hospitals remains quote-unquote dire. Much more help is needed, water, food, etc. Delicate negotiation. The U.S. involved in trying to hold off the ground invasion here.
Yeah. The IDF says they've now hit 400-plus Hamas terror targets that they have struck in the last 24 hours. So ground, maybe not so much, but I guess through the air in other ways, the destruction is underway.
Yeah, so they're saying now 9 American hostages, and in total 220 hostages still in custody, but 2 more elderly folks were released yesterday, much to the delight of their families. All right, let's talk about Philadelphia. We got to get her done today. It's do or die, essentially, as we think about our Philadelphia Phillies. We lost 5-1. It was painful to watch. NLCS reaching this decisive Game 7 tonight. First Game 7 in Phillies history, and we have a long history. So how about some lowlights? Listen in. Arizona came out swinging, early 2-zip lead in the second. Listen in.
The windup. And the pitch to Gurriel. Swung on, line deep to left. This one could go. Marsh turns, looks up, and it is gone. Back to back for the Diamondbacks. As Gurriel gets a hold of a sinker. His second homer of the postseason. And just like that, it's 2-0 Arizona here in the second.
And just like that.
I knew we were in trouble when they had back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, I mean, in the first inning, Nola had some good movement, some good velocity, and then he just hung a fastball and a sinker back-to-back, and he recovered after that. But we had Kelly on the ropes 2 or 3 different times, and we never busted through like they did against our guy.
And they pulled him in the bottom of the 6th, too.
Yeah.
Which I looked at it, I was like, oh, I don't know.
He was mad.
I don't know if that's a great idea.
He was mad.
But it turned out to be a great move.
Yeah. But, that's the first time all postseason long that Nola had a bad performance.
It's true.
By his standards. So.
True.
So just like that, Brandon Marsh then responded as he gets a double to send JT Realmuto home.
And the pitch from Kelly. Marsh swings, lines it into right. That's a base hit. JT coming around third. They're going to wave him to the plate. Carroll with a high throw to the plate. It's taken by Moreno. He'll throw to second, but it's late. And Marsh slides into second, pulls off the helmet, shouts back at his own dugout, raises his hands, and he's got the Phillies on the board. It's 3-1.
He was fired up, too, on that play.
It was funny. They panned to the crowd and they showed his mom, who was just like so ecstatic.
I know.
It's funny.
She's like, that's my boy. Look at that beard.
Look at that beard.
Look at that hair.
Unkempt hair. You think my hair's unkempt? Look
I was just
going to
say, Brandon Marsh might be the stalker of the Phillies.
It was cute. Was she the one where, they were wearing their buttons of when their kids were like, we all wear for football?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She had one of his cute little buttons from when he was like 9 or 10. Oh, my God. It was so sweet.
Yep.
But that was a sweet moment. But Phils just couldn't get out of their way. Marsh strikes out to finish the game and force Game 7. Cutsy.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Marsh waiting. Seawald kicks the pitch. That's a strike called on the outside corner. Backdoor breaking ball. Marsh complains, but the game is over as the Arizona Diamondbacks come to Citizens Bank Park, end the Phillies' home win streak, and they beat the Phillies 5-1 to force Game 7 of the National League Championship Series here tomorrow night.
So we'll turn to Ranger Suarez, who has the lowest playoff ERA ever for a pitcher with at least 5 starts. Diamondbacks will use Brandon, let's not go Brandon P. Fat.
Yeah.
I'm making fun of his name on purpose, who was more effective against the Phils, as you know, in Game 3 than any other pitcher this month, striking out 9 over 5.5, 5 2/3.
So we throw Ranger tonight for the right to face the Rangers.
Exactly.
Friday night?
Yeah, exactly.
How about that?
The Rangers took Game 7.
Yes. Goodbye, Houston.
Yeah, Houston.
It's all there for the Phillies now.
I know it is. What do you guys think about? Did you see before I think it was the bottom of the 8th, fans started leaving.
Were they really?
And okay, that is bad luck.
Yeah.
And I remember with the Sixers, Allen Iverson, back in the day, he would have none of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they need somebody to go like, get back in your seat. It's bad luck. Sit your tush down.
5-1. You're trying to beat the traffic. You know it's probably not going to happen.
Oh.
And there's another game tomorrow night. I actually give the fans a pass.
No.
I do.
No.
I disagree.
Sit down.
Yeah,
you were bad luck.
You're there for the long haul. I mean, this team has a history of coming back.
I know.
For the fans.
Yeah.
The fans helped turn it around.
Yep.
That would have been like half the players. Well, we've lost.
Yeah, that was a bad
Well,
bad luck.
maybe they had to get to work for today because at the end of the day,
We start at 6 a.m.
yeah, maybe other people start at 6 a.m. too.
Well, then
that was low energy.
I mean, look, we all have early wake up times, so we didn't go.
Yeah,
so.
Anthony Dorenzo's here.
Yeah.
Is he though?
Well, he's in spirit.
That's my enabling story, and I'm sticking with it.
Did you guys see who's pitching the first pitch tonight?
Throwing out the first pitch?
Throwing out the first pitch?
Who?
John Kruk.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Nice.
Go One Nut.
Oh, that's not right.
That's his nickname.
I know. It's not right, man.
Sorry.
We're a little punchy. All right, 48 degrees, NBC 10 first alert forecast, 48 degrees and clear right now, 62 degrees, so brisk at this evening because it's later. Unfortunately, we're going to be really tired tomorrow, but hopefully celebrating, right?
Yep.
8:07. So it looks like 67 degrees. That's not bad. 67 degrees. And bright sunny skies. 72 for your Wednesday, 77 for your Thursday.
Wow.
I hope Nick Kayal has a little tea time coming up.
I've been trying to get one more round in, Dawn. Nobody wants to play with me, though.
It's going to be 80 on Saturday,
yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Woo, finally, a nice Saturday.
Yep.
And then Sunday back to 72, but at least we'll have one football, 80, actually, they just changed it, 82 degrees and sunny for your Saturday.
Wow.
So hopefully this is a winning Game 7 forecast. Certainly feels like summer this week. And this is your first edition Kayal & Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:17, let's get to a Tuesday. Big Take.
The Big Take on Kayal & Company.
All right, the big take this morning, George Floyd, a pawn in the left's game. Racism, much like anti-Semitism and other forms of hate and phobias, will always exist in America as well as other nations. We as a society will never truly eradicate hatred because human beings are flawed individuals, but you can certainly make progress, and nobody's saying you should give up. In the Middle East, we saw about a 20-year stretch of sustained stability amongst the Arabs and Jews. And then out of nowhere, we saw what happened on Saturday, October 7th. In the United States, we have made great progress when it comes to racism. If you look at where this country was in the 1950s and 60s compared to the early to mid-2000s, there was a significant reduction in race-related hatred. But that changed in May of 2020 with the death of George Floyd. I have long said on this show that I don't believe the supply of racism in America meets the demand that the left wants and needs. The Democrats, they don't want to eliminate racism. Democrats thrive on it. They want division to create dysfunction and distraction. Fear and racism is on page 1 of the Dems playbook. We've known that for decades. And I believe that the left used George Floyd's death to send this country back to the way it was 60 years ago in order to keep selling fear, attracting young minority voters, and to keep their stranglehold over a population to win elections. And the math actually proves my point. According to a Gallup poll last year, Americans believed 21 years ago, in 2002, that race relations in America were pretty good. 72% of those polled said things seemed to be, quote, pretty good between races. Now, in the most recent poll in 2023, post George Floyd's death, that number has plummeted to 54%, which is a decline of 18%. The reality is George Floyd was a pawn for the Democrats, and if you're a critical thinker and you're paying attention to all of the news and not just what mainstream media tells you, or more importantly, what they ignore, you will see this. New testimony indicates that George Floyd did not die from strangulation or asphyxiation. There's also no evidence to prove it was racially motivated. Here is Tucker Carlson with the latest of Tucker on Twitter. Listen and watch.
Did, for example, a racist white cop actually murder a man called George Floyd, a civil rights leader, in Minneapolis on Memorial Day of 2020? Now, we've been told that happened, told it relentlessly for more than 3 years. So at this point, we've been told it so much that pretty much everybody seems to believe it. And because everyone does kind of believe it, a small group of people has been allowed to make massive changes to American society. They include, but are not limited to, decriminalizing stealing, defunding the police, adding a new federal holiday to the calendar called Juneteenth, the ceasing of hiring all white men in corporate America, and of course, significantly, they also sent a cop called Derek Chauvin to prison for more than 40 years. He would be the racist white devil who murdered George Floyd. But the question is, did he actually murder George Floyd? And the answer is, well, no, he didn't murder George Floyd. And we're not guessing about that. We know it conclusively thanks to a new court case now underway in Hennepin County, Minnesota. The case was brought by a prosecutor there called Amy Sweezy. She's suing her boss. So the case is not actually about George Floyd or Derek Chauvin, but it tells you an awful lot about both of them. In her deposition, which you should read, Amy Sweezy describes a conversation that she had with the county medical examiner, Andrew Baker, right after George Floyd died. Quote, "I called Dr. Baker early that morning to tell him about the case and to ask him if he would perform the autopsy on Mr. Floyd." Sweezy recalls all this under oath in the deposition. Quote, "He called me later in the day on that Tuesday, and he told me that there were no medical findings that showed any injury to the vital structures of Mr. Floyd's neck. There were no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation."
The media's narrative caused riots for months. We all recall the BLM riots of the summer of 2020. We saw businesses destroyed and people killed. We saw over $1 billion worth in property damage. And we saw approximately 20 people killed, which far exceeds any death total on January 6th. The truth is, the dated racism playbook is stale and predictable to many of us, but it still sells to a select few who are incredibly gullible and think every single person is always under attack. One man who isn't buying it is a veteran of the armed forces who worked in forensics. He's an African-American male who is now a children's book author and goes by the name Dr. Interracial on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Billy'sAndyTodd if you would like to check it out. He's a fantastic follow, a great critical thinker in my opinion. But listen and watch what he had to say after this latest George Floyd autopsy information was shared in another court case referenced just now by Tucker Carlson. Listen and watch.
While I was serving in the military, my background is forensics. I know how to read autopsy reports. I even filled a lot of reports. And it finally came to truth about George Floyd's death. Drug overdose. He didn't die by asphyxiation or strangulation by the police department of Minneapolis. And the sad thing about it is, Keith Ellison and the prosecutor and a lot of the Democrats knew that was a lie. But they pushed that lie, which destroyed cities across the nation everywhere. A lot of people lost their lives, a lot lost businesses, and then a lot of the cities start promoting defund the police. Now what's happening in Minneapolis and St. Paul, happening in Baltimore, just everywhere. Democrats have been destroying our country ever since they lost the Civil War, and y'all people keep voting for them. They don't care nothing about you. They rather take a dumb, stupid person like George Floyd and push their agenda to destroy your own community.
Racism and racially motivated hate crimes are tragic, and they happen, no doubt about it. But Democrats are diabolical and will use this to their advantage while continuing to push racism at every imaginable opportunity. Remember UC Smollett, the famous hate crime hoaxer? Well, just this past Friday, we received an update on UC, and UC Smollett is, quote, getting help through a rehab treatment facility. TMZ confirmed with a rep from Smollett's camp. The rep tells us, quote, UC has had an extremely difficult past few years. He's been quietly working very hard for some time now, and we're proud of him for taking these necessary steps. We're told Smollett is in an outpatient program. Smollett's rehab stint comes amid his ongoing appeal in his Chicago criminal case. As TMZ has reported, UC was found guilty of lying to cops about an alleged attack back in 2019 where he claimed 2 masked Trump supporters attacked him and put a noose around his neck. I'm not even sure why this is a headline or a story, because this is all self-inflicted on a complete fabrication and lie. And if this wasn't enough, we have also discovered now in the last 48 hours in New York City some disturbing news, as it's been reported by the New York Post that ex-mayor Bill de Blasio deliberately held back cops during the George Floyd protests. That according to a new book from Melissa DeRosa and the claims that she makes. At this point, it's merely an allegation and a claim, but would it shock you? Would it shock anyone? Or was all of this done by design? Was this the opportunity the left was searching for? The opening they needed during the early days of the pandemic, with the election for 2020 about 5 or 6 months away? You can absolutely make that assertion, because we've known the left's agenda for quite some time. And that's very sad. Sad but predictable. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, big take this morning. If you want to jump in on the conversation, you can do so. 855-839-1210, the phone number. On Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. And, of course, on YouTube, just go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community. We'll come back, get some thoughts and a reaction to that, as well as what is going on with the left when it comes to the Jewish folks in this country. They feel abandoned. We're going to get to that as we continue. It's Kayal and Company, live here on this Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
Hey, this is Norman Chaikin, also known as Norman the Floorman. I was running a dating service for chickens, but I was struggling to make hens meet. Calling all developers, investors, house flippers, and savvy shoppers. I'm selling plush carpet at 99 cents per square foot. I haven't sold carpet that cheap since 1969. Visit us online at normancarpet.net or visit our Bryn Mawr or Conshohocken showroom. Call for a free home estimate and, oh yes, 48-hour installation available. That's 800-220-RUGS.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit njdiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
Extraordinary awaits when you open up yourself to a world of possibilities with the 150-year-old Herradura Tequila. Made with unmatched care and aged to perfection, Herradura Tequila has the sophisticated taste to make any moment extraordinary. Herradura Tequila. Available at your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits store. Please enjoy Herradura Tequila responsibly. Alcohol 40% by volume, 80 proof. Herradura Tequila, imported by Brown Forman, Louisville, Kentucky.
With food prices going up, it's hard to decide on what to buy and where to buy. If you're looking for a way to stretch your food dollars, look no further than your neighborhood grocery outlet. We have the name brands you love for 40 to 70% less than regular grocery stores. Our stores are locally owned and operated by people in your community, so we understand the challenges you are facing. Stop by your local grocery outlet today for deals you won't believe.
Grocery Outlet Bargain Market.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
The final suspect wanted from last year's shooting outside Roxborough High School is now in custody. Hamas has freed 2 more Israeli hostages being held captive in Gaza. And the Phillies will play in their first Game 7 in franchise history with a trip to the World Series on the line.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
There are so many discounts and offers at Cherry Hill Volvo. This 30-second spot is not enough time to share all the benefits of purchasing or leasing a new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. Discounts and incentives for this month start at $5,000 and can be as high as $11,000. Purchase or lease a new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo now and take advantage of these fabulous discounts and offers. Visit us soon for the best selection of Volvos. The entire Cherry Hill Volvo team is waiting to partner with you.
Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hopefully all of you up to a great start for your work day. It's Nick, Dawn, and Greg. It's Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We have an unbelievable edition of What's on the Cut Sheet coming up at 7:45 today. I mean, I try to stay out of Stalker's way for that, but I just saw so many things yesterday where I was laughing hysterically. You're going to hear a lot of A-listers coming up. Joe was doing things that Joe typically does. So that's a little tease for you. You're not going to want to miss this. But I do think it's interesting, and I wasn't really planning on going down this new kind of wrinkle in the George Floyd story. But it all ties into what's going on with Israel and Hamas in the Middle East and the way the media covers it and the way the Democrats have shifted all to one side here. So honestly, when you look at George Floyd and the way the left used him as a pawn, and the way the left is kind of abandoning Israel at a time of need. We'll kind of tie it all together here in the next 15 minutes or so. But I do want to point out a tweet from our buddy Road Warrior. He must have just sent this during the big take. As you know, he's a retired detective for over 3 decades. And he says, in regards to the George Floyd autopsy, which is back kind of in the lower weeds of the news, medical examiners, and this is from Road Warrior, medical examiners are often susceptible to outside influences in making decisions on mode and manner of death. I would know. I've done it a lot. So I thought that was pretty interesting because, to be honest, I didn't see this story from any specific, quote, mainstream media outlet. This was from one of Tucker Carlson's latest episodes. I think it was episode 32. It's about 3 or 4 days old. And so this George Floyd manner of death is being brought up and presented in another court case in Minnesota. And then I see other influencers and other people talking about, including this guy who was in the armed forces as a forensics expert. And you go back again and you look at the George Floyd autopsy. No life-threatening injuries identified, no facial, oral, mucosal, or other issues, no injuries of anterior muscles or laryngeal structures of the throat, no scalp soft tissue, skull or brain injuries, no chest wall soft tissue injuries, no fractured ribs or vertebrae. And then you look at all the toxicology reports. I mean, the guy had a pharmacy in his system at the time, for God's sakes. So I thought that was kind of interesting to bring up. Which brings us to what's going on, the ongoing issues in the Middle East. And we'll get to the media failure and the journalism malpractice coming up in about 15 minutes, locally here in Philadelphia with the Inquirer, as well as the New York Times. But it is interesting that when you look at it, it feels to me, and I hate to make this political, I really do. I mean, this is war. I don't think anybody roots for it. Nobody wants casualties and death. I think a lot of us, if not all of us, are against the war machine and, all the propaganda and the profiteering that comes with it. But 2 articles, one from the LA Times and one from one of the media sites that we look at from time to time called Mediaite. I want to start with the headline from Mediaite. The Israel-Hamas war is causing a reckoning on the left. And I just want to read you a little excerpt here. They go on to say, since October 7th, this has riled up the American left and reopened a deep cleavage in the Democratic Party that shows no sign of healing anytime soon. Democrats are tearing each other apart over how to appropriately honor the dead in Israel, hold Hamas accountable for its atrocities, and support Palestinian civilians while combating both rising anti-Semitism and Islamophobia at home. It's very interesting the amount of Islamophobia that is being brought up in response to this ongoing conflict, because I would argue that the anti-Semitism levels are far more off the charts in this country than the Islamophobia. Not to say that Islamophobia does not exist, because it certainly does. They go on to say that the Democrats clearly have a more difficult task in managing the camps within their tent than does the GOP on this issue, particularly as many on the far left have inflamed tensions into an all-out war in the Democratic Party. The war may also create a potential electoral liability for President Joe Biden. Let me just stop right there and ask the question, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. Is this something that could actually benefit the GOP here in the next 13 months when we talk about elections coming up? Is it possible that this could backfire on the Dems?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
We have we like to memory hole things. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's what's happening now has no bearing of what's going to be in 13 months from now.
Okay. Dawn, you agree or disagree? Is this something where the GOP can maybe win some people over, so to speak?
No. I agree with Greg on that point, but I will say anything you say can and will be used against you. So when they're, talking trash about each other, which is stupid.
You're referring to who? Talking trash about who?
Oh, wait, well, are you talking about the House? The 9 members of the House?
Yeah.
So when they're talking trash about each other and saying whatever, the drama, that can all be used in different commercials, and they can make fun of them over it. So in other words, it's before this all happened, it was thought that maybe, just maybe, we could lose the House, but it looks like we're going to win the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So now could that be used in their, obviously they're going after Lauren Boebert in Colorado. She's very vulnerable in her seat. It was a tough seat anyway, and you saw Saturday Night Live make fun of her. That's why the media always brings her up, because they want her to lose for upcoming election.
And that movie seat that she was in for a while was a tough seat as well.
Yeah, they're using everything. I mean, she was going through a really nasty divorce and an abusive relationship, and if she were a Democrat, they would all say, oh, she got out of She was pregnant as a teen from an older guy who she stuck with, and she was in an abusive relationship, and she's, you know what I mean? It would be a completely different talking point if she were a Democrat.
If the Democrats and the left can make commercials and ad campaigns based off of the dysfunction within the Republican-controlled House, why can't Republicans take out excerpts and ads and clips of all the left-wing propaganda, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Washington Post, the Squad members, and use that against them in their like almost absurd defense of the slaughtering of Jews? I think that would be a powerful ad that hits home to potentially maybe an undecided voter, an independent, a moderate. I mean, you could. This is where Democrats will do whatever it takes to win elections and regain power, even if it means, you know, going to the lowest of the lows. And I don't know if that's low by going after Boebert. It's politics. Everything is fair game when it's public. I mean, I try not to be, you know, partisan when it comes to that. If there's like, you know, personal issues in your life that's out there to the public and you're competing against that person for a seat, it's fair game. But why can't the Republicans, quote, why don't we stoop to the Democrats' level and use all this anti-Israel propaganda that's coming out from the left to potentially win a swing state or a battleground state? I think that's fair game, is it not?
Well, I mean, I think on one hand, depending on the handling of this delicate situation, if God forbid it goes badly, will it be one more Biden debacle and Democrats will own it? Yes, that's true. But
I mean, Joe's basically he's given in to the Squad Dems on this ceasefire right here, right? I mean, they were demanding it, and now we've got this kind of this ongoing delay of, you know, troops on the ground, so to speak.
I don't know, Nick. I think I think the fear is if they all go storming in, that if it's a massive situation, they're just going to kill those 220 hostages.
Yeah.
They're dead.
Yeah,
that's
a fair point.
That's what I just think. I don't know what the odds are. You know, I'm sure we could talk to somebody who's been doing this for a long time, right, in hostage negotiations as this goes on. I don't know what the odds of them surviving are, but I suspect as every day goes by, the odds go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know they've released 4 hostages, but like the odds are that they're
the odds are horrifying.
They're dead anyway.
Yeah.
So it's you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be cold and I hate to be callous,
Oh, it
but
could
like,
be the
that's
truth.
It's horrible.
That's the reality of the situation. So if they're waiting for more hostages to be released, like that's exactly what Hamas wants.
Yeah, that's fair. And the reason I ask is this is also interesting when we talk about the left and what they latch on to and what they push and advocate for. Column from the LA Times about one individual in his life. The headline is, "The left has really let us down. Why many American Jews feel abandoned." And let me just read you just a couple of sentences here. Like many American Jews, Jonah Goldman sides politically with the left, including its push for the rights of Palestinians. During college, he was active in J Street, the liberal Jewish advocacy group that opposes the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories and lobbied for a two-state solution. But in the aftermath of Hamas's gruesome raid on Israel last month, Goldman has never felt so isolated from people he long considered his allies. He was shocked by how quickly friends mobilized for the Palestinian cause while failing to condemn the attack. The militants killed more than 1,400 people, most of them civilians, slaughtering families, including children, and taking 200 more hostage. Good people he never considered anti-Semitic suddenly seemed, quote, supportive of Jewish genocide on social media and college campuses, as well as at pro-Palestinian rallies, the sort of protest Goldman once would have joined. The assault has been portrayed as a form of resistance. He goes on to say, quote, "The left in America has really let us down." Goldman, who is 31 years old and lives in the Washington area, considers himself a Democrat and a socialist. Now, a couple of other things in this article with the LA Times kind of chronicling where he's coming from and what he believes. He goes on to say, in other quarters of the far left, significant airtime has been given to the view that Israel is a colonizing force and therefore violence against it is justified. Jews have always been the biggest targets for hate crimes in America, he says. most prominently the 2018 massacre of 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, which we've referenced on this show that Dawn has brought up in the news from time to time. Anti-Semitic crimes were second only to anti-black crimes in 2022, a pattern frequently seen in the FBI dating back to 31 years ago. But as a minority group that is by and large white American Jews, who number 7.6 million in total, or 2.3% of the U.S. population, have also struggled to find their place in the new hierarchy of identity politics. And obviously, we don't have to go back any further from what happened. You go back to, World War II and Hitler and the Holocaust and things like that. And that's kind of the point of a lot of this, is the left is known for their identity politics. And, I think on the right, for the most part, we look at right, wrong, fact versus fiction, logic, so forth and so on. The left always seems to choose a side based on the victim and the identity. Like, the left doesn't really seem to care or report something when it is a white person on the end of a crime. We only talk about it when it's like, okay, it was a police officer with a minority suspect who allegedly did X, Y, or Z. And then when we go to this conflict, I am still now, 16 days into talking about this. It is still wild to me that the left has really, really pinned themselves into a corner here to the point where, and this guy right here, Mr. Goldman, 31 years old, probably does not feel alone. I mean, we played you that clip of that girl at the Washington University campus who was crying her eyes out to a school administrator on campus in like the Quad area while there was basically pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian protests going on campus right now. So you talk about a group, and we mentioned something yesterday about how everything is always about the oppressor versus the oppressed. I mean, the Jewish community right now in America has got to be feeling unbelievably unsafe and terrible right now when they look around at their country. And I know we told you the poll yesterday, 84% of Americans do support the funding and support of Israel. But that 16% that doesn't makes you feel very uneasy about your safety in this country these days. So I thought that was worth bringing up because the left always seems to kind of just jump into one camp, even when you look at things logically and say, I don't know that the Jewish community is in the wrong here, yet they're painting it with that kind of brush and that lens. So
yeah, which is bizarre.
It is. And let me say this as well, too. We talk about how many people of Jewish descent are in this country. How many people in the entertainment world, Hollywood, the legal field, the medical field, the political field, there is a lot of very prominent, powerful Jewish people in this country in industries where you would think there would be more pro-Israeli support. Yet you're seeing this verbal backlash as if like this is the and Greg kind of pointed it out with the whataboutism and the two-sidism. I'm not saying Israel is 100% innocent in the history of their civilization. They've done things as well. But it's overwhelmingly...
Well, the United States isn't either.
Well, that's correct.
So,
right.
Nobody's
got a perfect average.
No country is.
Right. I just, it's very interesting. You see different publications with different stories. And this is kind of the stuff I actually like looking at and I've seen enough of the talking heads on MSNBC and their opinions. But like when somebody like the LA Times, which is obviously left-leaning, actually reaches out to individuals and talks about their upbringing and how they're totally stunned. So it almost confirms my belief of I'm stunned the way this is played out in public support. So I'm not in the minority when somebody that actually feels really left out in that community is kind of echoing their confusion similar to me.
What I would really like to see, and of course, we don't know this person, so we won't be able to tell, but, in 13 months, will it affect, to the point that we started this segment with, will it affect the way he votes?
Right.
And I'm guessing it won't.
You're probably right.
Yeah, the economy probably has more to do with that. The only thing I'm going to say about your big take on the George Floyd death is that was a moment that brought the nation together with a tragic situation. We all watched it as if it were in real time, more than 9 minutes. A big man calling out for his mom and his final moments. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just going to say about that It was horrible. And police enforcements and law enforcement across the country said that's not how we're trained, or that's not our protocol. Everybody condemned the procedure that he did in that. And so it was horrifying enough. Let it be, and let that officer or those officers then face the music on breaking protocol and that sort of thing. But they had to pimp it. They had to use it, like you said in your big take, as a narrative. However, as far as what you play with Tucker Carlson, to pull back totally on this thing and say it was all a big lie, we all know what we saw. And I think that's a mistake, to pull it back and say, oh, no, they broke protocol. It was horrible. It was awful. It was 9 minutes that we all watched and cried. So let it be. Mm-hmm. Everybody, Tucker, liberal media, let it be what it is. It's horrible enough.
Yeah. 855-839-1210 if you want to climb in. Speaking of liberal media, I'm not sure what is more crazy. The fact that so many in the media have gone to the kind of rallying cause and the support of Palestinians and Hamas, or the fact that these same outlets are just journalistically failing categorically. The Philadelphia Inquirer offers up an apology, and the New York Times gives us an admission. We'll give you the details on both when we come back here on Kayal and Company. Stay right there.
We're introducing Wendy's newest addition to the morning lineup. Say hello to the Wendy's all-new English muffins. They're here and they're ready for breakfast. Choose between our tasty grilled sausage, a fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese, or that Applewood smoked bacon, fresh cracked egg and gooey cheese. All of that comes sandwiched between a warm English muffin. These English muffins are the perfect way to start the day. All you gotta do is pick one. Grab an English muffin for breakfast this morning. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's breakfast at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotics assessment in Walmart today, now in the foot care aisle.
Marvin E. Can's Heating, Air Conditioning, and Duct Cleaning has been serving the main line and surrounding areas for 3 generations. If your furnace or heat pump is 15 years old or your boiler is 20 years old, well, this winter you might be out in the cold. Don't be left out in the cold this winter. Call Marvin E. Can's Heating, Air Conditioning, and Duct Cleaning now to get your HVAC system serviced. And if it needs to be replaced, Marvin E. Can suggests you do it now and not wait till it breaks in the heart of winter. Visit marvinecans.com. That's marvinecans.com.
Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in Caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients, raising the standard for the next generation of care. The alliance between Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute means the highest quality care close to home for you. DemandDeborah.org.
It's time, y'all. The Kelly Clarkson Show.
Come on! I feel good. Yeah, I know that I would not.
It's a new season from my new home in NYC. Woo! I feel good today. We're all new in New York. See what we did there? Clever.
So good. I got you.
Jalen Hurst here with Harley from Window Nation.
Jalen, don't you love the home field advantage?
Absolutely. Do you?
I love that in the home improvement field, Window Nation gives you a big advantage.
Like what?
Custom-made, energy-efficient windows with tons of options, expertly installed and backed by the best customer service team anywhere.
So that means lower energy bills, higher home value, and peace of mind?
And savings, Jalen. So buy 2 windows and get 2 free, plus no interest for 2 whole years.
Get the Window Nation advantage for your home. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
What a great time of year this fall to find yourself that new or certified luxury vehicle you've been wanting. I hope you turn to my friends from Piazza Premium Automobiles. They're always here to assist you in your unique vehicle search. And it really is a unique search. You'll be amazed as well. I'm thinking about it because I've got the minivan, the Honda Odyssey minivan. I was amazed at how much they told me I would get for a trade-in right now. The trade-ins are so high value So you got to turn to the Piazza Premium family. Okay, they're across the tri-state region. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. And the Piazza Premium family features dealerships across our region. They're great people. Find your Alfa Romeo, your Maserati. These are some of the most beautiful, sleek, powerful. You know, I'm just coveting these vehicles. Oh, that Maserati, that Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Jaguar, or Land Rover at PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. You know, they say that the vehicle you drive says a little bit about you. So you got to turn to my friends from Piazza Premium Automobiles. Seriously, they're always here for you. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Riverton. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The dark side's gonna love them is real. She'll never know just how I feel. Out of the shadow, she walks like a dream.
6:53 Tuesday morning. It's Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, 855-839-1210. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. What's on the cut sheet coming up at 7:45. We'll kick off hour 2 with some news for Dawn in just about 10 minutes. Game 7 tonight in the world of baseball. The Philadelphia Inquirer gets ripped for a terrible, terrible decision with a political cartoon when it comes to Israel and Hamas. We will get to that as we kick off hour 2 after Dawn's news. But before the apology of the Philadelphia Inquirer, we get to another dying left-wing publication, the New York Times, and an admission from them. And this is finally coming out after last week. The New York Times just showed how clueless they really are. I don't know if, it's a reduction in staff or they just don't care about journalistic integrity or if their editorial process has gone to you-know-what in a handbasket. But the headline reads, New York Times admits that the Gaza hospital bombing story relied on information from Hamas terrorists. This is like crazy that you wouldn't do proper vetting, proper sourcing, your due diligence. You'll just take the words of the terrorist. So the New York Times finally formally addresses its epic failure, covering the bombing of a hospital in Gaza. They go on to say the following. It was one of the most egregious examples our publication has ever done. Hitting publish on the headline, Israeli strike kills hundreds in hospital, Palestinians say. The headline, which was actually stealth edited multiple times. So they changed this on multiple fronts online with their digital publication. But as we know, screenshots and the internet are forever, and people keep receipts. And they were apparently caught stealth editing this multiple times. And I think the lesson to be learned here is, don't take terrorists at their word. I said last week, it would be the equivalent of a bank robbery. And the local newspaper or media outlet hasn't gotten the official word from police or the local bank or the security personnel at the bank. But the bank robbers sent them a message via the WhatsApp Messenger app and said, it wasn't us. Oh, well, the bank robbers had nothing to do with it, so we might as well run with it. That's the New York Times. That's not some pseudo-journalist on social media or some blogger or podcaster. That is what many people have tried to make the claim of the New York Times being the premier newspaper in this country. And it's actually so bad that Elon Musk last week, after the mistake, prior to this admission, stripped the New York Times of their verified checkmark.
Yeah, I saw that.
On social media.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk has kind of been a little weird lately with Twitter. Now
Check
all of a
marks
sudden,
don't mean anything these days.
No, because you can pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but it's not like the New York Times. I'm sure they were verified before you had to pay for it, and he decided to remove that check mark from them, which is also weird with Twitter because now Elon's going to start charging people $1 per year for basic functions.
What a mistake! What a mistake!
Like, what's the point of that?
It's
$1 per year.
Well,
For what?
He's realizing
to tweet.
To tweet.
That which could be the way I finally get off of Twitter. So, Greg Stocker, you should actually be relishing this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. To publish. Basic things like retweeting and posting.
Yep.
Going to cost you $1 a year.
Well,
Can I write that off?
What extra do we get?
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's
just
the thing.
Just the ability to be on there,
If
Don.
we're paying for stuff, we should get something extra.
Yeah,
I agree.
We don't.
I agree.
We don't.
Like if Elon Musk, like if he could come here and we could have like little meetings with him or Zoom talks with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll pay that.
No, I don't want to do that either.
It would be painful.
He's exposing himself as the fraud he actually is.
He's a mess.
He's a giant mess.
He's just everywhere.
He's a giant mess.
He's just, you know what he is? He's an attention seeker.
100%.
He really is.
He is. Yep.
No doubt.
He loves it.
Well, he's he's this genius with a ton of energy, way too much energy.
Too much time
and,
on his hands.
Like being a billionaire and building Teslas and rockets isn't enough.
Yeah.
And so
Twitter's a toy for him.
we're basically the Legos.
Yeah.
And I loved your little.
You like that, by
Yeah.
the way? My daughter got my daughter. She doesn't have a son, thank God. If she did, it'd be really weird. My sister, her son, got the whole new Lego set, and my sister was texting me last night saying, "I got Dawn's voice in my background saying Legos are the building blocks of the future for what? For little boys or men."
Scholarships, robotics.
Yeah.
Good job, Aaron.
I never had Legos.
Yeah,
Explains
me
why.
neither. I was just gonna say, if I never had Legos, I can't build a damn thing.
I had wrestling buddies.
Yeah,
the stuffed
exactly.
ones.
Exactly.
They're actually fun, but we are the Legos for Elon Musk.
There you
We're
go.
just his play toys.
Yeah,
We're like
not doing that.
Barbie and GI Joe dolls.
Not doing that. Twitter's a cesspool anyway. You can have it.
This could be it.
Not everything needs to be on Twitter.
855-839-1210. Coming up next, you're going to want to get to YouTube because you will see this political cartoon that the Philadelphia Inquirer ran, and apparently the screening, the vetting, on second thought, probably not a good look. That never seemed to transpire or materialize. We will explain that story and their apology from one of the bigwigs of the company on the other side. It's hour 2 of Kayal and Company, and we're back after this.
If the market volatility of the past year has made you nervous about your retirement future, you're not alone.
So many people are waiting for the perfect time to retire. And those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
But that doesn't mean that it's hopeless. Jim Cipriotti has been helping people get to, through, and beyond retirement for over 20 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, now on Saturday mornings at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics Assessment in Walmart today, now in the foot care aisle.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at many fine retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters. Available at Walgreens and participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at St. Ignatius Church in Yardley Saturday, November 4th, and at the Sillersville Theater on Saturday, November 18th.
Show is awesome. Wonderful. Excellent.
Show was awesome. Merrill Reese was really funny. I thought the Charles Barkley stuff that he did was funny.
I actually looked him up online. I was kind of scared.
That's Conklin's comedy show at St. Ignatius Church in Yardley, November 4th, and the Sillersville Theater on November 18th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Listen on your schedule. Anytime. Just go to 1210 WPHT on the Odyssey app and search the Kayal and Company podcasts.
Kayal and Company 7:03. Hour number 2 underway here on this Tuesday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, 855-839-1210. What's on the cut sheet coming up at 7:45. Big day for House Republicans. We will get you up to speed with everything within the GOP and that debacle coming up in just about 15, 20 minutes. And a very classy gesture that we did not get to yesterday that the Philadelphia Eagles did on Sunday at the Link for some Americans. We'll get to that story before we get to the cut sheet. Also, Eagles making a huge trade yesterday. How dare that football team try to steal the headlines of the Phillies as they try to clinch a spot in the World Series? It was like headline wars between the two teams in town.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on that as well. Of course, Game 7 tonight at 8:07. But before we get to all of that, let's get to the news. Let's get to the forecast because I think Dawn Stensland has said it's going to be warming up today, 7:04. And here is the great Dawn Stensland.
Yes, a big warm-up in the forecast. We are sponsored this morning in Kayal and Company News Live by American Heritage Credit Union. And the funeral procession has begun this morning, a solemn morning in Philadelphia, as the city prepares to bury one of our city's finest, who protected and served until the last moments of his life here in Philadelphia. We're talking about Officer Richard Mendez, more than 20-year member and veteran of the Philadelphia Police Force, was killed in the line of duty while trying to stop those armed thugs and thieves breaking into vehicles at Philadelphia International Airport, cameras not working. Public viewing will be held at the Cathedral Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul on Race Street in Philadelphia this morning. So that begins 8 a.m. and goes until 11 a.m., followed by a private funeral service. That'll be at noon today. And this is before Officer Mendez is laid to rest. So certainly we've paid tribute to his life, his career here in Philadelphia for protecting and serving his widow, his family, and his larger law enforcement family. Thousands from across the country are here in Philadelphia, and that as well there are many reminders for you. If you are in and out of Philadelphia, there are many street closures today, beginning right now as I speak through probably 2 o'clock this afternoon. So that'll just cause some traffic delays or rerouting traffic. So just a heads up on that one. 50 years old. 50.
I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way because I'm not intending to put a certain twist or tone to it. I feel like, as an officer, and maybe these guys just love their job so much and they don't think about the what ifs and what could go wrong. But just the way my brain is wired, if you end up being a career police officer and you end up doing, let's say, 30, 35 years, 20, 25 years, whatever it takes to get your pension and be pension eligible, it's just, for 20 years in a tough city, that officer was able to do his job and go home each day. And it's like, you start thinking about, I guess when you're 50 years old, I know it's a long way away from retirement, especially in this economy, Dawn, but it's like you start to feel like maybe you're getting close to the finish line and you're almost going to get out of harm's way and have an unbelievable career and then be able to talk. And then these low lifes just snatch it away from you and your family. Just thinking about his age and 2 decades of, and he was beloved. Like,
Yeah.
You hear this all the time with a lot of these cops that, they were just universally like the most humble, genuine, I don't know. Just bothers me. It really steams me up.
Well, I mean, and we think about this. I believe he has a son who's also a young cop who just became a cop. We know our friend John McNesby, FOP Lodge 5 president, has family who have fairly recently, within the past year or so, who've been sworn in as officers. So I guess that hero DNA, kind of runs in the family. That
and God bless
right?
the youngsters that are going into that field now. In this day and age, at 24 years old or whatever you might be, you're going to become a cop, and you read all the headlines. I get more power to you. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So, to your point though, Nick, this is why there is a chilling effect. I'll call it the Krasner effect, as well as everything going on, because when you are that officer, you always you don't want to have that hesitation. And that, by the way, can be deadly on the job.
Yes. Yeah. Your failure to actually do your job could result in your life ending because of you got the media's narrative bouncing around in your skull for the last 3.5 years with everything you've been told about how demonic the police are.
Yeah, well said. We have also authorities have arrested that fifth and final suspect who was wanted for gunning down 14-year-old Nicholas Elizalde, young student, high school student, and JV football player just in the shadow of Roxborough High School. Happened in the fall of 2022, but it took now a little over a year for authorities to catch 17-year-old. So he was 16 at the time, Dayron Bernie Thorne, taken into custody, and that was yesterday afternoon in Philadelphia's Germantown section by Philadelphia police as well as the U.S. Marshals. So Thorne was one of 5 individuals, young men, who authorities say ambushed a group of kids, including 14. Unfortunately, there were a lot of innocent kids like Nicholas who were captured in that shootout. The other 4 suspects have already been arrested and charged. This guy, I will mention to you, this 17-year-old, was also wanted for a separate homicide the day before this happened. And I'll also remind you of the fact that there were illegal guns that were supposed to be in the custody of the sheriff's office. Remember this? And those firearms somehow ended up being sold on the underground market or black market, whatever you want to call it, and in fact were used in that deadly Roxborough High School shooting.
Yep.
So there's so much corruption that that has been investigated, as they've said that according to these documents that they should have been in the sheriff's custody. There were FBI informants. This has become a major investigation, federal, regional, and local. But those 2 pistols, a Glock Model 17 and a Glock Model 22, ammo worth $3,500, all of that was used in that shooting involving those kids.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable.
And you said U.S. Marshals were involved?
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, that is one area that if I would have used my criminal justice degree to go into policing, so to speak, I would have loved to have been a U.S. Marshal.
These are all dangerous
I know,
jobs.
but these are the ones you get motivated for. You want to hunt down these low lifes. And the local authorities and state authorities come to you at the federal level, and you go in for these guys. Oh, that would be a rush. I would enjoy that job.
I'm glad you're here. You're safe.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad are in heaven. Glad that you're here safe, right?
I think they're laughing at me. Actually,
no,
right
they're very proud. So we have a lot going on, and Nick Hale is talking a lot this morning about the House Speaker, and then there were 9. We'll talk about that moving forward. 9 a.m. I guess they're going to have a meeting. We're hearing there could be a vote today. Then we heard the vote, the official vote, the formal vote may actually be later this week. So we're waiting to hear more on that. And I'll point out to you that as well in the Donald Trump case, this is the New York City, Manhattan, Letitia James case involving his business dealings, as it was her campaign promise, Letitia James, to get Trump, quote unquote. Now, Michael Cohen, one of his most loyal allies, was his attorney on retainer. He is expected today in court. So some drama, a showdown perhaps, as today Trump and Cohen expected to be face-to-face in a New York courtroom as Cohen delivers testimony as part of the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case against the former president. So that there's a media swirl around that. It was speculated that Cohen, the reason that he called in sick last week, that he heard that Trump was coming and he didn't want to face him. That was one of the narratives. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
So so we're waiting for that one. There's so much happening, and of course, Game 7 today, historic for our Phils. All right, we lost it yesterday.
Hey, we got Ranger Suarez tonight, baby. I feel good about the Ranger being on the
Good,
mound.
I'm glad.
I do.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
feeling lucky.
I was steamed up last night, but I feel good about today.
So we lost 5-1 yesterday, but here's the good news. Phil's controlled most of this series, right, Nick Kayal?
Yeah, I
controlled most of the series.
I thought this was going to be a 5-game series, 6 max. I'm honestly a little stunned that it's gone 7.
Maybe they just they wanted the fans weren't good enough last night. We're leaving early, as Greg Stocker pointed out. So maybe if the fans just stay in your seats.
I can't believe you guys are ripping the fans.
I'm ripping the fan. I'm blaming the
Unbelievable.
fans.
Yeah, somebody on the YouTube chat said if you're going to leave early, stay at home and watch the game on TV. I agree.
It's their money. It's their money. If they want to leave to beat the traffic, I don't blame them. 5-1 in the 8th inning.
Give a real fan your
Agreed.
tickets.
Yep.
There are lots of real.
All these Johnny-come-latelys.
Yep.
Paying
Fair weather fans.
all this money to get into the stands.
And you know what?
They gobble up all the good seats, and then they leave.
Thank you. And it wasn't as loud as it could have been. Wasn't as loud. We need real fans tonight.
Fraud fans.
Fraud fans.
Fair weather fraud fans.
Well, I lost some of my juice last night after all those base runners were left stranded after the first 7 innings as well.
But you wouldn't have left.
By the way.
I would have, actually.
By the way,
I got a show to do.
Dawn called this game correctly.
She did.
So she's already up. You owe her 40.
Yeah.
I would assume we both owe her 20 then.
Yeah.
So she's up 80.
Yep.
60 of which is you, 20 of which is me.
Yeah, you got some Kale currency coming your way.
Kale, it's like Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like Bitcoin.
But it remains in the pot.
Yeah.
In our little piggy bank, and then it'll all go to Travis Mania.
Yes, and which, by the way, the grammar jar in here is starting to fill up. I don't know who's been stuffing dollars in here lately, but it's starting to be at the point where it's almost full. I don't know if people have been making contributions.
Well, I mean, you should for the last couple days.
I mean, if we were really keeping track, I would have a bucket full already. Be like one of those big coin jars where you put all those pennies in. Remember those?
I do, yeah, of course.
Well, all of it'll go, whether it's families back in the badge for the bike, because that's right around the corner. Are you still training on the bike?
No, I'm training with Bourbon right now, but I'll be on the bike by like April.
Yeah.
By the way,
I committed to do that race with you next year.
Yeah, so it's official. You're in.
My advisors need to advise me.
You're going to talk to your attorneys in the conference room today.
Exactly.
10:05.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the polls are all greased in Philadelphia.
They were greasing them yesterday.
They were greasing them yesterday. Yeah. They're greasing. They were out there just touching them up, and we're going to have pole climbers and greasy pole climbers. I think we're all fired up today. But come on, fans, we need the real fans to come out. And American Heritage Credit Union sponsors our news this morning. The place for first-time home buyers, in-house realtors, $500 lender credit for new homeowners. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH for all the details. Loans subject to credit approval, insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 433838, NBC 10 First Alert Forecast. A gorgeous summer-like forecast all week today. 68 degrees, they're saying now. 68 degrees and sunny. We warm up to 82 degrees by Saturday. Enjoy the sunshine and a taste of summer. We're here on Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. So get on over to YouTube if you're not there already. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe button while you're there to make Greg happy, because you're going to want to see this cartoon. So this story, if you don't know what we are talking about, I gave you the New York Times and their admission that it was a mistake to take Hamas at their word, that they were not the ones responsible for the hospital attack, which we all know now was not even a hospital, it was a parking lot. But the Philadelphia Inquirer is being ripped, and rightfully so, for running a political cartoon depicting Israel as a giant boot, apparently about to crush ant-sized Hamas. And there it is right now. There's the cartoon.
Oh, my Lord. Look at that.
So this is an editorial cartoon, big old black boot with the word Israel on it, and Hamas. and it looks like a little depiction of individual human beings about to be stepped on and smushed, and it says, "Distance yourselves, Israel here coming for Hamas." So the Inquirer was blasted for running this political cartoon. This apparently ran 1 week ago today, so this would have been last Tuesday, October the 16th, which, as you see right now, depicts Israel as a giant boot apparently about to crush an ant-sized Hamas. While the paper apologized last Wednesday, 6 days ago, which was a day later, the chairman of the board of the Inquirer, Josh Kopelman, still took the publication to task on social media this past Thursday over the, quote, offensive cartoon that shows Israel as an aggressor against a meek Hamas, and I cannot sit in silence, he says. So now he says a few other things. He added that he's avoided publicly commenting on the Inquirer's editorial choices over the years, but, quote, has heard that my silence has been interpreted by some as a passive endorsement. So I want to publicly share my anger. In the battle against terrorism, the Philadelphia Inquirer mistook the victim for the aggressor. He goes on saying the Inquirer got it wrong.
So there's two ways to look at this, right?
Okay.
I mean, look, if we were, it could make Israel the big,
bully?
Not bully, but like big, strong. Like if you would do this to America, the U.S. and ISIS,
yes,
you know what I mean. It would be a boot, crushing ISIS because we're so much bigger and more powerful than that. So you could look at it that way. I'm not sure that that's the way.
Well, that's
it was
the way
intended.
Monty Wolverton, it's a syndicated columnist.
Yeah.
He wrote, "I deeply apologize for my recent cartoon depicting an Israeli combat boot poised to crush Hamas. I had intended to show Israel was soon to stomp out Hamas terrorists, but my insensitive choice of imagery effectively cast Israel as a villain. I now realize this caused pain for many readers, and I deeply apologize."
See, I don't view it as Israel being casted as the villain, although there are people on the left that are trying to make Israel the villain. But I think the reality is, to Greg's analogy of America versus ISIS, let's face it, the IDF is absolutely going to smash Hamas.
Yes.
Hamas is a ragtag operation. Now, if this was Hezbollah, bigger force, bigger total people committed to the cause, so to speak, it might be a little more different.
Can Daniel or Phil, can you put up that photo one more time? I think we should take a poll question on this on the YouTube chat to see if this is I don't want to say offensive because this audience doesn't get offended by anything.
Not
much. Is this in poor taste, I guess, is the good.
But, I don't know that it's in poor taste. Number one, this is a terrorist organization. Number two, Israel has a right to defend themselves and exist as a group of people. And, yes, they are much – I mean, Israel is pretty advanced when it comes to military and technology, although we know this was an intel failure of epic proportions. I know we live in a world where people want to be bothered by things, but, number one, it's a cartoon. Number two, I think the imagery that it's portraying, it's not factually incorrect.
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to be offended by things that are factually correct these days?
I think people looked at this like big bad Israel imposing their will on Hamas, but I see this as a superpower, in my opinion, crushing an enemy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see the outrage about this, and I don't understand really why he needed to apologize for it. I don't know. I just
Well, I think what happened. Well, first of all, I think what happened was it just shows you this is a syndicated. This right here is a syndicated cartoonist. I doubt anybody even really noticed it. Well, I think that they just, you know what I mean? They just, it's a syndicated. So for them to apologize over a syndicate, I understand they have to take accountability for what they publish. But I just wonder if they even saw it. What does the caption say?
It's got the boot
up in the corner.
It says "Distance yourselves."
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
so what does that mean?
I mean, it's basically, I interpret it as basically the evacuation that they've been giving you for 2 weeks. Like, hey, you might want to start. We're giving you ample opportunity to get out. Civilians, Palestinians not connected to Hamas, Americans, Jews, get out because it's about to start raining.
If you go to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, there's a poll question right now. Is this in poor taste, offensive? Right now, the no's are winning at 62%.
But I would say that what's appropriate is that this is clearly an op-ed. This is a political cartoon. So my criticism in general is the Inquirer is famous for having a lot of things, especially on their, because we get the hard copy Sunday. All of us get the digital, right? But I would say the fact that this is an op-ed, this is an opinion, it's a cartoon. Whereas sometimes they have things in their quote-unquote news section that is a commentary, such as about police, and they've gotten other things wrong that they don't apologize for. So I would rather they apologize for those things as opinion, as opposed to something that was syndicated that everybody knows is a cartoon and op-ed.
Tamara Walker on the YouTube chat says the problem is that in the image Hamas was depicted as people. Might have been better to depict them as another object.
Or savages.
That's a pretty sophisticated. That's a good point.
Yeah, like you're crushing actual people rather than the scumbag animals that did what they did. I don't know, but how would you depict that then?
Automatic rifles and IEDs and bombs.
Yeah,
that's a good point. 855.
Go over to YouTube and vote. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go over to YouTube and vote. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. You can see the photo and vote. Right now, the no's are winning 61%.
Actually, to his, what was it? Who said that? Because that was an astute point.
Tamar. Yeah.
To Tamar's point, had they shown the armaments under the boot, that actually would have been better, because where did those armaments come from?
Right.
Mike Carr writes, why is the boot got to be black?
Oh, gee.
It's a racist boot.
Racist.
Actually, I think that's what their boots, combat boots, look like.
Yeah. 855-839-1210. We will come back and work our way towards what's on the cut sheet. A big day for House Republicans. Trump has the only solution for the House speakership. We will get to that, as well as the members, by and large, disapproving of this fight going on within the House. We'll continue after this on Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Jump into NBA action with FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel, when they place a $5 bet on the NBA. All you have to do is place a $5 bet on your Philadelphia 76ers. You'll get $200 in bonus bets, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel. That way, you can watch the action as you bet on everything from point spreads to player props. Best of all, you can get paid. You'll get paid your winnings instantly. So don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass for free. Just visit FanDuel.com/Greg and tip off the NBA season right. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT and is the official partner of the NBA. 21 and over, President PA. New customer offer. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. All customer offer. $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
Hi, Philly. It's Emmitt Smith again. If there's one thing I know about you folks, you're fierce competitors, tough as nails, even when it comes to pushing through aches and joint pain. But you don't have to waste that Philly grit dealing with pain anymore, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Like Emmitt said, hand over the pain once and for all to QC Kinetics to get relief in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back without surgery or harmful medications. They use your body's own healing properties right at the source of the nonstop pain, making you feel like yourself again.
Come on now. You don't want a Dallas fella whipping up on you just because of that joint pain holding you back. Nah, this is a personal challenge from me, Emmitt Smith. Take care of your business. Get relief from that pain once and for all.
Challenge accepted. Go ahead. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, We have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestis. Vestis, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestis.com.
Gone South, winner of the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award, is back. Laredo, Texas, a border town community where in the fall of 2018, 4 women were found dead. In Season 3 of Gone South, The Sign Cutter, join award-winning producer and journalist Jed Lipinski as he unravels the story behind the manhunt for a serial killer that led to a shocking standoff.
All episodes of Gone South, The Sign Cutter are available now exclusively on the free Odyssey app or listen weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me for years talk about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements. After making their omega-3s as part of my daily routine, from supporting heart health to promoting pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Jeff. He says the benefits of Rescue Omegas are worth it. Helps reduce my inflammation and lower my cholesterol. Been taking it for years. See, people like Jeff have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Use the code online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Remember the code OMEGA50, OMEGA50. Buy one, get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
People tell me their number one fear in retirement is running out of money. A close second is maintaining the same lifestyle as they did during their working years. Now, they are valid concerns, since according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average household of people 65 and over will spend nearly $50,000 a year in retirement. So what can you do to be prepared? Well, many people are not aware of a little-known law where you can convert your retirement account, such as an IRA or 401k, into a tax-free growing account. And how about you would never have to take another required minimum distribution, regardless of your age? This is known as a Roth conversion. Introduced in 1997 by Senator Roth, Roth IRAs allow a retirement account holder to pay the taxes due on the account today, which immediately converts that account into a tax-free growing retirement account. But that's not all there is to a Roth conversion. By converting to a Roth IRA, you're kicking IRS out of your account and you're taking control of your own retirement funds. Now, a Roth conversion is simply transferring funds from your traditional retirement account, such as an IRA or a 401k, into a Roth IRA. And by paying the current taxes due, you now can reap the rewards of all the benefits of having a Roth conversion. Now, a Roth conversion is not for everybody. Always consult a retirement phase expert who has the specialized training in IRS tax laws to make you more efficient during your retirement years.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I'm sailing away, set an open course for the virgin sea, 'cause I've got to
Kayal Company, 7:31. As we continue live here on a Tuesday morning, what's on the cut sheet in less than 15 minutes? A couple of A-listers making a Tuesday appearance. Looking forward to that. 855-839-1210, the phone number on Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And, of course, be a part of the Kayal Company comment community on YouTube. We will get to the latest with the House, Donald Trump's latest comments about only one man can get to 217 votes. And spoiler alert, it's not Byron Donalds. We'll give you that in just a moment. But let me grab a phone call before we get to that. We've got Joe, who is in Berks County. Joe, you're on Talk Radio 1210. You go right ahead, Joe. Joe is... Uh-oh. Is he there?
Going once? Going twice?
Is he gone?
I think
apparently he was on hold for a day.
I think there was something wrong with the phone, actually.
Oh,
I think
no.
there's something wrong with the phone.
All right. Well, Joe, we appreciate it. If try giving us a call back or maybe tweet us. There's plenty of ways for you to communicate beyond just the phones. So I do want to get to this tweet that we got in regard to the cartoon that we were talking about from the Philadelphia Inquirer that has drawn criticism and has led to the CEO of the company to issue a public statement. We got this tweet during the break from Antiquarius_Emeritus, who says, and he sends this to myself, to Greg, and to Dawn. The reason that cartoon is drawing fire is because it associates the IDF with German Nazi jackboots. It's effectively equating the Israelis with Nazis. The jackboot is a potent symbol of Nazi aggression. So are we really at the point now where we're trying to make and I'm just kind of interpreting what he's saying here and implying.
That's not a jackboot boot.
That's not?
Mm-mm. Look up jackboots. Jackboots are smooth leather boots.
Daniel, can you put the cartoon up
it's not a jackboot.
On the YouTube?
Because I refuse to live in a world where anybody's going to try to imply to me that the Israelis and their response to being attacked is the equivalent of the Nazis.
I don't know. That looks like a jackboot to me.
No. Look up. Jackboots don't. The jackboot is the trademark of it. It's a large leather, it's like a military boot, but it usually goes up higher, either halfway up or all the way up to the actual, almost to your knee.
Okay, that barely goes up to the calf.
This is like a construction boot that's like it's not even like a patent leather. It's like a suede.
Yes.
And it has the heavy tread bottom.
Good point.
That is not a jackboot.
I have just Google imaged a jackboot, and you're right. See? Those go up at least to the back of your calf all the way up to behind your knee. I would say that those have got to be 12 inches, you would say, Dawn?
Yeah. Believe me, I live with kids who love war. We've been to every museum, and so all those costumes, or not costumes, uniforms that are on display at museums. That is not a jackboot.
This cartoon looks like a 6-inch Timberland boot, so to speak.
It's like a military boot.
John Solis on the YouTube chat using jackboot again. He says the use of jackboot with Hamas being depicted as only having small and effective rifles is clearly unbalanced and offensive.
Offensive to who? Hamas?
No. I just think in general, when I first looked at it, when I look at it now, I didn't even see it in the Inquirer, truthfully, because I don't, that's why probably we didn't even notice it for a week. But because it's sits around and it's on a back page.
Yep.
But I would say this: my first impression of it is that it appears to follow the narrative that we're seeing. That's a horrifying narrative that there are victims who are suffering. We have 220 hostages, and the hope to God they're alive. We have families who've been, who've been ripped apart, who are grieving a country that, citizens in their homes having breakfast, little kids playing with toys on the floor, and these armed men, terrorists, break in your front door and do horrifying things and slaughtered families. This right here follows a different narrative that we've seen on college campuses. That is, offensive isn't even strong. It's not even a strong enough word to say what we've seen in the media. It's insane. It's insane.
Let me ask the $1 million question, and it really shouldn't be the $1 million question. To me, it should be the 10-cent question because it's so obvious. Why are we sympathizing with Hamas? Why is anybody in their right mind offended by a cartoon? It's not like that boot says Israel and the little ant people in the cartoon are, it says the word Palestinians or Arab Americans.
It says Hamas.
It says Hamas.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
how can you? Yes,
Yeah.
I do
I
want
agree
a
with
big
that.
boot to fall on Hamas.
And that's what the cartoonist says. The cartoonist claims that he actually was saying, you are small, you are nothing, and you'll be crushed.
Yeah.
That's what the cartoonist is saying he intended. And I think it was important that he spoke out and say what he intended. He's claiming he was not siding at all with the terrorists, but it was interpreted that way. So again, I'm just going to say this is art and cartoons and these political cartoons. The intent of those cartoons are clearly they're opinionated and they want us to have these conversations and they want us to have thoughtful conversations. So of all the things that the Philadelphia Inquirer could apologize for,
Right.
That's not one of them.
This is one I feel like where I'm defending the Philadelphia Inquirer
Yeah.
here, saying you have nothing to apologize for.
It was a syndicated columnist that,
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
were they asleep at the wheel? Probably.
Mango Mush on the YouTube chat says the same exact thing happened to the Pocono Record. So obviously they
carried it too.
They carried it as well.
Which I get. But now let me ask you this, and I was going to get to this story coming up later, but this is actually a tie-in here. So comic strips are now being criticized by those who are triggered to the extent of that's offensive to the terrorist and the terrorist group, to which I would say it's a comic strip. So let me try to be somewhat consistent. I think this is close to apples. I wanted to get to this story later, but we'll do it now. So Dave Chappelle was doing his show in Boston, and some members of the audience walked out after he criticized Israel during a show. So should a comic strip be much like a comedian and a comic show where you walk into the show, or in this case, you pick up a copy of the paper, or if you saw it on the digital version, if it was in the digital print, and should you just remove all triggers to be offended, because at the end of the day, it's meant to be humorous. It's not real, right?
Yeah.
Should a comic strip equate to a comic show?
Well, first of all, nobody reads comic strips.
I know.
So, we're having these conversations. Dawn brought this up too. Nobody would have seen this comic strip if we didn't bring it up. Literally nobody. Now, more people have seen this than saw it when it was first published. So nobody reads them. As far as Dave Chappelle goes, look, you can disagree with what Dave Chappelle says, but to walk out of it, oh my God. It's, yeah, he's an offensive comedian. He's always has been.
He's got cringe content.
He has always, and whatever side I don't care. Is he funny? Are the jokes funny? That's all that matters.
Shouldn't be losing jobs over it. The Wall Street Journal, citing attendees, first reported some in the audience shouted "Free Palestine" in support of Chappelle's comments, while others yelled, "What about Hamas?" before some audience members ultimately walked out. Again, when I walk into any sort of comic show or anything, a movie, anything under the entertainment umbrella, I am never going to be offended, because the point of it is to elicit a response from you, get you to cringe, get you to laugh, get you to boo. I don't think Dave Chappelle, one way or the other, and I don't know, maybe there's video or audio out there and we can, decipher what he was saying and how he delivered it. And if
there's not, I looked.
But it's again, it's freaking Dave Chappelle. If you don't know that he's going to push the envelope, that's a you problem.
Okay, so if I love Dave Chappelle.
So do
I think he's so funny. But so if I guess at first he said he didn't think students should lose a job offer for supporting Palestinians.
I agree with him. By the way.
Okay. Then he said that he supported Israel at first, but then at some point he said that the Hamas attacks. He basically, one of the quotes was, he said Israeli policies and the Hamas attacks are two wrongs. Two wrongs don't make a right. That's what people found offensive. So if I'm at a Dave Chappelle show and I think he's making some of those comments and I really strongly disagree, I'd just heckle him.
Yeah.
I would probably stay, but I would definitely be a big mouth and I would heckle him. And maybe he'd have a funny response, but I would want him to know, dude, two
Yeah.
wrongs don't make a right. What are you talking about?
So oddly
these
enough,
are terrorists that went door to door.
So
Like,
he's playing the mainstream media card with
Yeah.
both sides of him. Here.
Yeah.
Well, they're both in the wrong.
no.
Yeah, by the way, nobody said he was right or had to agree with him.
Yeah.
But if you're at a show and you did, like, if you hear something that you disagree with and you're at a show, like, is your first instinct to walk out, or no offense, Tom, but to even heckle?
Yeah,
like, who cares? Just
No, their first instinct is to get their phone and go to Twitter and cry about it.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Like,
the truth is, I knowing, like, because I've watched like every one of his shows, he's a pretty sensitive guy and he's a pretty well informed guy. I suspect that he got into it with an audience member because they were heckling him and he was talking about policy.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's true that he really said like a boneheaded thing, if he said two wrongs don't make a right, then yeah, I'm heckling him with my big freaking mouth. I am.
I think some of the best comedy comes from current events and public affairs and news stuff that we talk about on talk shows.
But remember, who was it? Bill Burr on stage in like South Jersey.
Yeah.
Like guys like this and Chappelle do great with hecklers. So I wouldn't be an obnoxious heckler, but I probably would. Like, I probably might shout something out to go, dude,
the Bill Burr story from the early 2000s is
best.
legendary. He was in Camden here.
Okay.
It was part of a radio station event, and they had all these comedians there. And the crowd, Bill Burr was fairly new at that point, and the crowd just turned on Bill Burr. And it started right before him. I think it was Bob Saget or somebody like that. And the crowd started turning and not, just heckling and booing. So he got out on stage and he started telling jokes, and the crowd was just not with him.
Yep.
So he completely flipped the script and just insulted Philadelphia, insulted the fans, and by the end of it, he got a standing ovation because he was so good at just flipping the script. It really was a lesson in how comedians react in bad situations like that.
And funny you bring up the late, great Bob Saget, who's no longer with us. I think he just died a couple of years ago. I mean, one of the things about him is if you've ever seen his bits and his routine, I mean, he is a foul-mouthed, potty-mouthed, obnoxious guy. He's the complete opposite of the guy he was on Full House and on America's Funniest Videos.
Yes.
You think friendly, family, wholesome dad? He's just the raunchiest guy of all time. I love that guy. And he's gone. Sadly, I think he died at 65 years old.
But just the fact that people see, they go to events or people speak and they don't agree with something, and it's just like,
I know.
Just stop.
It's amazing.
Just move on.
I know.
Okay, so if somebody has a different opinion than you,
Yep.
the world will go on.
That's unreal.
Yeah, what would I yell out? If he said, I'd be like,
you shouldn't yell anything out.
I probably
Just yell
would.
it's a sin.
Especially if I had a couple glasses of wine, I'd probably go, yo, Dave, love you, man, but terrorism is not funny.
When you start policing what is and isn't funny, then we're
dead.
You're
Well, it's
in
not
the
policing.
wrong. No, you are. You are.
It's heckling.
It's okay. It's like
It's a live
to say
show.
something is never funny is wrong.
Who had more of a right to walk out, the Chappelle audience or Phillies fans after the 8th inning?
No, I would never walk out on either.
855-839-1210 if you would like to jump in. 7:45 right on the dot. It's time for a Tuesday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHD. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We're at 86 likes on today's broadcast. Please get us up to 100. If you're watching right now, please hit the like button. Always hit the subscribe button. Our plan is to get to 5,000 by what?
Thanksgiving.
Come on, guys, let's do this.
Almost
Subscribe to the station YouTube chat. At 1210 WPHD. The long-awaited, your wait is over, Nick Kayal. Stephen Colbert returned from his COVID.
Oh, thank God. I thoughts and prayers. I was getting ready to issue them.
Well, the first thing he said when he opened up his show today was he contracted it because he missed his booster shot.
Oh.
So he got it because he missed the booster.
That's what he says in this.
Which is factually not possible because that doesn't prevent you from getting it.
Well, exactly. But he has a reason for this. I'm going to go to cut 10 here, guys.
Happy to be back. Anybody over there had COVID recently? Everybody dodging the bullet? I forgot. You know, like a lot of, I kind of forgot, like, that's done. And Evie, my darling wife, said we should go get the booster. I'm like, oh, I definitely want to go get the booster. Yeah. But I haven't had like a day off since we came back in. We've been making up for lost time because we were off for 5.
Yeah, you're only off for 5 months.
He was off for 5 months. I haven't had a day off.
Honey, I've been working 28-hour weeks for 6 weeks. I don't have time to do the groceries.
It hasn't even been 6 weeks. I think it's been 3 or 4.
This guy's
I haven't had a week off in 4 weeks.
Oh, God. What a clown.
I want to start this clip over, Phil, if you don't mind. Starting it over right now.
Happy to be back. Anybody over there had COVID recently? Everybody dodging the bullet? I forgot. You know, like a lot of, I kind of forgot, like, that's done. And Evie, my darling wife, said we should go get the booster. I'm like, oh, I definitely want to go get the booster. Yeah. But I haven't had like a day off since we came back in. We've been making up for lost time because we were off for 5 months. And last weekend I was out in Los Angeles interviewing a big star who's going to be on the show in November. The star does not do talk shows. Is a legend, like truly, like named legend of all legends. This is one of them. I was out in L.A. and I got COVID from traveling out there. Evie got the shot. She was with me the whole time. We did everything together, and fear not, we smooch plenty. And she did. She got the booster and did not get COVID. I did not get the booster, and I got COVID. Wow. So, another round for you, science. Hope you're happy. I'm so mad at science.
I mean, what he was saying is factually incorrect.
Yes, and he's just not the least bit funny. I don't know who are the biggest fools here. The audience that actually goes to see him, those who stay up to watch him, or the people that employ him and think he's funny. And how about the beginning? Just listen to the tone in the beginning. Hey, did you get it? Did you get it? It's like, did you get the new Apple iPhone 15 Titanium? Like the joy in their voice when they talk about this virus is really bizarre. Like I mentioned it in the past, how like the left kind of romanticizes about COVID. It's almost like he was talking like, hey, did you try that new Mountain Dew Code Red? Pretty good.
By the way, first of all, he's spreading misinformation.
That is correct.
Because it's not the vaccine or the booster that prevented his wife from getting it. We know that when we were all not vaxxed or boosted or whatever, some people got it, some didn't. Just like the flu, just like the cold. Sometimes my wife and child get a cold, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like that just happens. So to sit here and say that it was because she got boosted and I didn't is factually wrong.
I agree.
And everybody just claps.
Yep. And they yuck it up. Some of them still believe it.
I don't understand this.
I just saw yesterday there were people. I went to my chiropractor, as I do every month, and there were 2 people in the chiropractor's office wearing cloth masks. One had a Nike logo on it. And I just wanted to say to that lady, like, number one, they don't work. Yeah. And number 2, if you're going to wear one, at least wear the KN95 instead of the one that you bought at a retail store.
On the YouTube chat, Moose Knuckle writes,
Moose Knuckle.
I love that the tweeters and the YouTubers because they just have a great sense of humor.
Moose Knuckle.
Moose Knuckle writes, isn't LA the most vaxxed area in the world? Tell me again how the vax works. It's true. It's true. You're literally going to the most vaccinated area in the country with, I'm sure, all of his rich friends.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had security with him. He had 1,000 producers, all of them vaxxed, and he still got it. So
Moose Knuckle.
It just shows you, though, some people are just more susceptible than
Of
others.
course. Yeah.
It just depends on your DNA, your health, all that stuff.
And it's been like that since
it's like the flu right
since
now.
this thing started.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten weaker.
Yeah.
So for him to say, well, it's because my wife was not like that clip. I found that from a separate source, but if that's going around on Twitter, that should be flagged, right? With some of those community notes.
1,000%.
Oh, that's
classic
right.
flagging situation.
We should look.
Yep.
Daniel, Anthony, Phil, if anybody's back there, now we have a team of producers.
Check Colbert's Twitter. check if he has a show page on Twitter, and check if CBS as a network posted that.
I would love to see if that clip is getting flagged for community notes because you know what? That is misinformation.
That is correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Tell you, these guys that keep getting COVID, by the way, they need to start doing what I do. Just go play golf, drink like a fish. You'll never get anything.
Let's go over to the libs of TikTok and have a little fun with mental illness, shall we?
I've missed these people. Hey, did you rather hear Colbert or somebody with a nose ring on TikTok?
So this person on TikTok says that whiteness needs to end, and it's not racist to say white people should die and never exist. This is a this is a white liberal.
No, of course.
You have to check out the video too on YouTube. Like, this is a deranged individual. Cut 9.
Seeing as melanin deficient Europeans created whiteness.
Melanin deficient
Yes.
Europeans.
By the way, purple hair and green beard.
Yeah, that is the trifecta there.
Like if I was trying to visualize what a moose knuckle looks like, that's a moose knuckle right there.
You do know what one is, right, Nick?
Moose knuckle? I don't know, a knuckle with arthritis?
Yeah, okay.
I'll look it up during the break.
We'll just
must have slipped my mind.
Look up the Urban Dictionary for it, okay?
Oh, urban. Okay. Yeah. Learn something new.
It's like the male version of camel toe. Okay.
Let me just play our deranged friend as I do some reconnaissance work.
We start out again, cut 9. I'm going to start the cut over there, guys.
Seeing as melanin deficient Europeans created whiteness in order to enslave Africans and commit wholesale genocide, yeah, whiteness needs to end.
Whiteness needs to end.
His Twitter
he sounds
handle,
like a former talk show host on this radio station. I'm sorry.
His TikTok handle is at Grunkle Frank, as in grumpy uncle. I mean, I think there is some validity to this if you tried to quantify this. I think there are white liberals out there at a far higher clip that want to end the white race more than maybe somebody of another ethnicity or race. I mean, could you imagine if anybody else got on TikTok and said, I want to end the black race or I want to end the Mexican race or anything? Like, could you imagine the reaction? Yet it's just completely acceptable on social media to be racist against white people by white people.
Yep.
By the way, this person was absolutely a BLM donor.
Oh, of course.
There's no doubt. Remember when I said that I think the people that took the bait on the scam of BLM is probably very white progressive liberals? This person right there, no doubt, had the sign in the yard, has the Ukraine bumper sticker, and donates to those causes. No doubt.
This is a woman who freaks out over being misgendered.
Okay. So it's my fault that you're having.
She went to a chiropractor or a doctor or something, and they misgendered her. They didn't call her the correct pronouns. They, them. Cut 12.
Y'all, I'm tired. 7 in the morning at the physical therapy.
Can you?
Can we freeze that?
Let's just
Box 4.
Oh my Lord. Look at those glasses. Look at that.
It looks like a bug.
Chubby face. Old chubster.
Oh, man.
But can you just the psychology of a person who the first thing they want to do is to sit in front of their phone and stream live to TikTok or whatever and talk about how they were misgendered.
Yes.
Y'all, I'm tired. Like, nobody cares.
I just don't see the sheer volume of incidents where these are starting to add up and they're stockpiling where, like, oh my God, in the last calendar month I was misgendered 22 times. I don't believe that happens. So it's like I point out the left's obsession with identity politics from a political standpoint, but with these specific individuals, I don't understand the infatuation over what you are. Like, Greg, do you ever obsess over the fact that you're a man?
No.
Dawn, do you ever obsess over the fact that you're a heterosexual female?
Nope.
Like, is that something like that you like proudly advertise to the world, or
no?
Do most people just assume that you're a female and probably odds are you're straight?
It's just attention. I mean, look at her. She obviously needs attention from people. So what's the best way for her to do that? To get on an app and just show how oppressed she is.
Yeah, and also I think the pandemic exacerbated a lot of this. It gave these people way too much time to be at home, isolated, quarantined from other individuals, and stare into their phone for 18 hours a day. I'm not sure that these people should be allowed out. Just, you know what? I hope they're all COVID freaks and they stay inside. Because I just don't believe that their identity is being questioned or misinterpreted as frequently as they claim it is.
Ortho on the YouTube chat writes, I think that being a moron might have jumped the shark. I agree with that.
And see, the worst part is like, I mean, I genuinely think these people are having like a breakdown. Like, it's just, they think they know what they are, and clearly science is telling us they are not what they claim to be. And then when we question it, and it doesn't happen as much as they claim it does, they just go off.
Exactly.
Like a ticking time bomb.
All right, I'm going to start that clip over again there, guys.
Y'all, I'm tired.
Me too.
7 in the morning.
And by the way, I'm sorry, I keep stopping this. By putting the music behind it.
I know.
Dun, dun, dun. I was misgendered.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I don't know how TikTok works. Is that something you record the video like dry and then you add music and then you upload it? Okay.
In post.
In post. Jeez.
We'll
Dude,
clean
they
this
gotta
up
get
in
on there.
post. All right, one more time, guys. I'm going to start this clip
Uninterrupted
over.
here.
Uninterrupted, I promise.
Y'all, I'm tired. 7 in the morning at the physical therapy office, misgendered by someone who I've told my pronouns to. And I said, just to let you know, my pronouns are they, them. And they went, oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then I had to explain
oh boy.
Too many times to my physical therapist that I didn't want to do an exercise where I had to crunch my face into my boobs.
Chin chucks.
Because that gives me gender dysphoria.
Oh, so it doesn't make my neck cramp up. It gives me gender dysphoria. And
what a psychopath.
Oh, by the way, always an attractive look when you have a tattoo going across the top of your chest from left to right.
Well, if it's on the right person, it might look better.
I'm not against an inked up breast if it's on the right body. And by the way, multiple references there to physical therapy. I would say she's attending the wrong kind of therapy, but I don't know what's physically ailing her.
Yeah, by the way, the words exercise and her don't go in the same.
No. Those glasses, though, kind of a throwback.
Yeah,
my grandmother had those back in the 50s.
Big glasses with the nose thing on them. Looks there is a generation crying out for help, guys.
That's it. That's it right there.
It really is.
That's them.
Like, and what do we do? I mean, do we mock them on shows like this, or do we try and give them help? I don't know. I don't know what you do.
They just want you to. And again, she mentions the failure to use the pronouns. Again, I've mentioned this on the air. I'm trying to play out in my head how a conversation goes back and forth where you're using the pronouns. Because I would assume that the physical therapist is just calling this person by their first name or their last name. Where is the actual usage of the pronoun in the conversational setting? I think it's all fabricated.
But by the way, if somebody screams at me, my pronouns are they, them, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. What are you supposed to say?
I just thought of a bit. What do you think about this? What if, we get Daniel Valdez, and since he lives, 800 yards from me, we go to a bunch of random retail establishments. We'll go into a Starbucks, we'll go into a Target, whatever, and Valdez will be recording, and I'll just go in and out of stores just shouting my pronouns and just seeing what people's responses are.
I like it. People look at you like you're a psycho.
Right.
As they should.
Right. And then I want to feel what it feels like to say that and then feel bad about myself and apologize to the world.
Well, let me ask you, if somebody, Dawn, because I feel like this is the same thing. If somebody said to you, obviously you're married, so the correct title would be Mrs. But if somebody called you Miss or Ms., would you be like, excuse me, Mrs.? You know what I mean? It's the same thing, right?
Pretty much. Let's not put so much thought into having he/she and all these. Honest to God, you never gave a damn about pronouns in school when they taught you how to use them properly.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you attach them to your gender identity and it's the be-all. I would argue that their pronouns mean more to them than their debit card, losing their license, possibly dropping their social security card.
Yep.
It's like their whole existence.
And that's just it. If all you can talk about is your pronouns, if that's all you have, it's like, what was the jerk, Steve Martin?
Yep.
All I have is this chair. You know what I mean? Like, you might as well say the chair, and cling to your chair, because that's what they're doing. They're clinging to something that is actually not even. It's an inanimate object, right? It's not even a chair,
right?
And they're clinging to their pronouns because they don't have self-esteem or success or a job or anything. So they have to cling to something. That's what it is. It's desperate.
They need therapists to sit down and talk to them and be like, okay, let's get to the root of why you're actually like this. It's not about the pronouns.
Yeah, they really.
What is it?
Greg, they need a job and they need a purpose in life.
I was just going to say
I'm actually going to rescind my take from yesterday about getting away from college. No, I think people should go to college. We should all major in psychology, get our masters in therapy, because the market has got to be booming right now. You can't get enough of these people in your office.
It's true. It's absolutely true. They need a job, because when you have a job, a family, whatever, friends, like you're busy. You don't have time to sit there and worry about. Like, I would love for 10 minutes, 15 minutes of my day where I could just turn to my phone and be like, "Hey, y'all, I'm so tired. Let me tell you about my day today. And I was misgendered." By the way, some might say that the longer I grow my hair out is the reason I'm growing a beard, so people don't mistake me for a woman. Like, look, I have a beard, therefore I am a man. Do you remember yesterday, guys, when we played the Ilhan Omar clip where she flipped out at a reporter for asking the question, how many Palestinians is it okay to die? How many? How many will make you happy? That clip?
Yep.
So apparently she was responding to another squad member. That was Democratic Representative Richie Torres from New York.
Yeah.
So he apparently took issue with something Ilhan Omar said, and this reporter was asking her to respond to it. So Rep Torres was on yesterday with one of the shows responding to the clip that we played yesterday, which is how this clip begins. Cut 8.
Congressman, your colleague, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she is also, like you, a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. She called you out on Friday. Listen to what she said.
How many more killings is enough for you? Is it 1,000 more? 2,000 more? 3,000 more? How many more Palestinians would make you happy if they died? Will you be fine if all of the people of Gaza were gone? Would that make you happy? Would that be the thing that makes you proud? And maybe that's the question you should ask Richie. Is he okay? How many more Palestinian lives is he comfortable with?
What's your response?
I obviously resent those comments. Every casualty is a tragedy. Every war is a humanitarian crisis. But we have to keep in mind the causes of the war. Israel did not start the war.
Bingo.
The war was imposed upon Israel by the barbaric terrorism of Hamas, which butchered 1,400 Israelis, including babies. My colleague, Representative Omar, has voted against Iron Dome, which is a missile defense system that protects Israeli civilians from relentless rocket fire. Were it not for Iron Dome interceptions, there would be far more dead Israelis, far more, by orders of magnitude. And so the policy positions that she has taken would have led to even more dead Israelis and more dead Palestinians.
Wow.
So this is where, and I hate using this word anymore because Ron DeSantis has ruined it for everybody. But the word woke, this is where woke goes to eat woke.
I thought you were going to say mustard.
No, I could go for some mustard right now, to be honest. Put it on a nice sandwich. A little hungry. But no, this is where woke eventually will eat its own and devour its own. So we have two squad Dems going after each other because Richie Torres can at least arrive at the conclusion that Israel is not the aggressor or the agitator here. It is Hamas. And that is driving Ilhan Omar of Minnesota completely bat bleep insane. And oh, by the way, poor podium etiquette from her. She's not even standing in front of the microphones at the podium. So I don't even think it was her that was supposed to be talking initially.
Yeah. It wasn't.
It was the one that's got the shaved head.
Ayanna Pressley.
Ayanna Pressley, another squad Dem, another nut job. But at least Richie Torres can have the basic common sense that he said there.
I will say this, that it is nice to see in a positive way that a lot of these squad Dems are now being called out by their own caucus members and their own party for the creeps that they are. Like these women should not even be in Congress.
Omar I think Tlaib's now tripled down on her stance.
It is disgraceful that they have this platform that they do and they represent people.
Yep.
So I'm glad that their own party is calling them out. They need more of this, and I think this has exposed a lot of what they really stand for, which is frightening. It really is frightening to see. A little instant feedback, if you guys will.
Yep.
John Doe by Choice writes, this is in response to the Dave Chappelle conversation we were having at 7:30. He says, nothing is off limits for a comedian. Got it. Okay, Greg, let's hear you joke about savaging and raping women, decapitating babies, and murdering entire families. I could use a good laugh after the Phillies lost last night. Boy, John Doe by Choice, you sure know how to throw a turd in a punch bowl, don't you?
But that's what I was saying.
No, I'm sorry. You can respond after I just say this. I stand by my statement. Nothing is off limits for comedians.
I agree.
Nothing.
I agree.
I disagree. I think that you're allowed to heckle if somebody, it's like, what if right after 9/11 he had been in a comedy place and started telling jokes? It's too soon. That's actually a joke. Too soon? It's too soon. You still have hostages in there, and people are allowed to heckle him. I wouldn't walk out, but I'd heckle him.
The great Gilbert Gottfried had a joke, I think it was the Hugh Hefner roast right after 9/11, about 9/11. And you know what? He got roasted for it. But we look back on it, and it's just like sometimes you need stuff like that to kind of get over the. It's the shock value that you need to get over it. It's like,
but it wasn't the joke that he said. He allegedly said 2 wrongs don't make a right, and that pees me off. And I would definitely heckle him.
I don't think,
which I'm allowed to do.
I don't think hate speech should be protected under the First Amendment and free speech. But I also think timing sometimes does matter. If you're offended by it based on I don't know, this is the right time to go there. I understand. Like, I don't agree with it, but you have the right to feel that way. But what I'm so overly amazed is what some of these squad Dems and other people that are triggered by certain things, the same left wingers that looked at a lot of the last 3.5 years as, Republicans are Nazis and Trump supporters. They're the ones now that are not. They're not condemning the attacks on the Jews. So think about that almost, I hate to say it, it's almost a predictable pivot. Like, you can't sit there and claim that Trump supporters and Republicans and MAGA are Nazis and blah, 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 and then be pro-Hamas when Jewish people are being slaughtered. But to your point with Chappelle, I go into anything knowing that I can't be offended. Like, to me, that should be on the wall. Enter at your own risk. Be prepared for the cringe.
If we start policing people's comedy and speech,
I agree.
Where does it end?
I agree.
Somebody's hate speech is not necessarily your hate speech.
Then you can't do it in what, movies?
Then you can't. Exactly.
In music?
I said this yesterday. It's these slippery slopes we go down where targeting somebody for hate speech. Well, what is considered hate speech? What is considered off-limits comedy? You know what I mean? Like, can we not joke about this? Can we not joke about that? What's funny to one person is not funny to another person. I get it. You know what I mean?
I think for the most part, though, when you see hate speech, you see it. If you hear it, you hear it.
No, it's.
I mean, if somebody's walking around with a megaphone saying death to the Jews,
You and Dawn will be the death of me.
Is that not hate speech? I mean, let's be functional, rational adults and say if I was to walk down Market Street right now with Zioli's megaphone and I'm yelling death to the Jews, is that not hate speech? If somebody thinks that's not hate speech,
it's deplorable speech, of course, but hate speech.
Well, what's so wrong with using the word hate? Like we hear, we can't use that word. Like no, hate speech is hate speech. You see it when you see it.
D. Moss writes, Chappelle wasn't cracking jokes; he was giving a political speech against Israel.
Yeah, that's the weird piece of it. I think. He wasn't good with the hecklers.
Okay.
I think it sounds like.
So let's go back to Dawn's best friend Ann Coulter. She was going to give a speech. She was going to give a speech that some people deemed hate speech and didn't like what she was having to say. She was, and they protested her and they boycotted her. So let's boycott and protest Dave Chappelle because we don't like what he says. It's the same thing.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, of course it is.
What I said was I wouldn't make a federal case of it, but if he started. So what they're reporting is, and I wish we could hear the audio. What they're reporting is he had a bit, and he said he incorporated the situation into his routine. People didn't find it funny. Then he started conversing with the hecklers, but not being funny, giving a commentary. That's what they're all saying.
Not being funny, according to who? Funny is subjective, is it not?
Well, no, it was like a conversation. It wasn't part of his bit.
Well, I've heard stretches where Chappelle will talk at a very low-key level, and he's almost kind of lecturing, but I still think it's part of his routine.
But I actually think
that's his bit now. Yes,
because of that, it is his. So part of it is that I as an audience member, I would probably shout out, "Love you, Dave," but this isn't funny, or terrorism, murder, rape is not funny. I probably would. Because then he might react to that.
Karen Dawn.
No, it's not Karen. Because I still love him, and I just think that he is a smart, funny guy. But I also think to say two wrongs don't make a right in the context of civilians having their doors busted down and being slaughtered, raped, and murdered. Like, dude, that's not two wrongs don't make a right. That is a.
We all agree with the premise of what he's saying.
Like, but my question is, where do you then draw to what?
So
Greg
I'm not going to cancel him. I'm still going to go to another concert. No. I'm just saying, if you're in that crowd and you paid for that ticket, you're allowed to help yell something out. If you want to interact, it's a live show and it's interactive.
I mean, I just stick comedy and stand-up. I put it in the same category as anything with music, TV shows, movies, theaters, plays, drama. Like, to me, it's all entertainment. And at the end of the day, I know that you probably don't mean that. And even if you do, I mean, still.
No, he means it.
Yeah. And so what if he does?
So what if he does? So if I paid for the ticket and it's a live interactive audience, I'm not doing what you're saying.
It's not an interactive audience, though.
It is, though.
You pay to sit there and laugh and watch him and clap like a seal. That's what you pay to do.
This stuff is interactive, though.
Here's another setting where this stuff is played out in real time in a theatrical performance. Remember years ago, and they don't do this anymore because they've gotten too politically correct, but professional wrestling used to really play off of the Israel-Middle East conflict. They created characters and wrestlers that were, the Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
I mean, and
it's whatever was going on at the time.
And there was always the little political time, and they don't touch that anymore.
Yeah. I agree with you that it's just like it's this whole notion of like we have to censor this or we have to it's where does it end? Like, where does this end? If you don't like going to a Dave Chappelle show, you know what you're going to get. And if you don't agree with it, then don't go to the show.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else to say. I mean, he has the right to say whatever he wants to say.
He does. And you have the right as a heckler to heckle it, but it ends there. All I'm saying is it ends there. I wouldn't cancel him. I would never cancel him.
No, of course not. And he's already been semi-canceled and, on the precipice of being shut down. And to his credit, and I think the lesson to be learned here is, especially when you do have a following, the more you go after to shut that person down, the stronger they become, right? You look at Trump. Every time he gets indicted, polls go up. Every time Chappelle gets attacked, his Netflix series do better. Jason Aldean's song, what's it do? It becomes #1 on the charts, right?
Yep. Lucy writes, we're on the, this is in response to some of those TikTok nut jobs that we were playing. Lucy writes, we're on the verge of World War III, and that girl is our greatest generation. God help us.
Yeah.
It's a true
Yeah, you
point.
think Hamas cares about your
It's a
pronouns?
True point. Speaking of being on the verge of World War III, a Wolf Blitzer discussed in an interview with a White House spokesperson yesterday on the possibility of war with Iran.
You know, we talked about it. The U.S. and Iran both kind of lurking on the outside, waiting to do something.
Cut 11.
CNN has learned that the U.S. has intelligence right now that Iranian-backed militia groups are planning to further ramp up attacks against American forces in the Middle East. What is the Biden administration prepared to do to combat this?
Well, without speaking to specific intelligence, this is something we've been watching very, very closely. In fact, today we were very clear publicly that we know Iran's backing these groups. We know that they're giving them the means, the resources, training, the encouragement, and direct contacts with the IRGC, the Quds Force, as it will, Revolutionary Guard, to conduct these attacks on our troops. We will do what we have to do to protect our forces and our facilities in the region. That will continue, and we've sent a strong signal to Iran through the additional military capabilities that we're putting in the region, that we have national security interests writ large across that region, and we're going to protect and defend them as well.
So is a U.S. war against Iran possible?
I think what we want to see more than anything, Wolf, is no widening of this conflict, no deepening of it. And we continue to send a strong message to actors in the region, including Iran, that if you're thinking about jumping in here, you're thinking about deepening and widening and escalating, don't do it. We will take our national security interests very, very seriously in the region, and we've added to the military capabilities to make sure that we can do that.
Well, I would argue you haven't sent a strong enough message because we have escalating conflicts on multiple hot spots throughout the globe. And also, you've released $6 billion in funds, and then you're going to send humanitarian aid to Gaza. We've talked about that after Joe's State of the Union, so to speak, last Thursday when he gave that primetime address. I will say this. I don't know who I'm getting more exhausted by hearing say nothing, whether it's Antony Blinken, no H in there, don't forget that, folks, or John Kirby. Both of these two guys, and I get it, it's part of their job, and they got to come out there and say a whole bunch of nothing. But you can read the tea leaves here. You can read the room. America's just waiting for Iran to go in there, and then we're going to end up funding more nonsense.
I've said this for the last, how long have we been talking about this? It seems like 6 years. I've been saying this since the start. The drum beats of war are pounding.
Oh, of course they are.
We need to be very aware of what is happening because they are marching us towards war. I'm telling you, they are marching us towards war, and I don't like it.
Keep in mind the history and the strategy of entering conflict heading into an election year. This I think, at least in past cases, gives the current president a better chance to be reelected.
We are going to get in another damn war that is not our fight, that we have no business being in, and we're going to be there for another freaking 20 years. I'm telling you. I've seen this movie play out. We all have. It happened 20 years ago.
I was told this was going to happen in 2017 and 2018 and 2019.
But I don't even want to make this political. I get it. Like, you know, we can have the discussion about Biden and the Biden administration. What I'm talking about is that this is happening, whether we like it or not, and it scares the living you-know-what out of me. Because we're making the same mistakes we did in 2003.
And let's ask the question, too. Forget about whether this would have happened under Trump or not. But what happens if we do enter war and it plays out where Trump gets reelected? Is it too late for Trump to step in and arrange peace and negotiations and settle? Because if he is the president, I don't think we are here. That being said, if he gets reelected, it might be too late for him to be able to go in there and say, this is the way we're going to, negotiate things, art of the deal. At that point, you've got bodies on the ground, you've got ground invasions.
I will say this, the military-industrial complex is very strong, very powerful, and I don't believe there is a single president that can stop it. Not one. I'm just telling you.
Well, it doesn't help when you've got guys like Lindsey Graham that have been around forever that can't get enough of the war.
He's a useful idiot. It goes deeper than that. You know, when everybody mocked and talked about the deep state, like there is a deep state. It's the military-industrial complex. It's the people hiding behind the scenes that every chance that they can see to go into war, they want to.
Yep.
Because it funds this, it funds that. It helps this, it helps that.
And by the way, Iran's not the last actor that will officially jump into the fray here. You know, it's going to start out with Hamas, and then here comes Iran, possibly Hezbollah, and then there are other Arab nations that are either actively involved or funding it indirectly or sending fighter. I mean, this is like the war on terror is a difficult war because it's not just isolated to one specific country.
Amen.
Right?
Yep.
And when it comes to Islamic radical fighters, they're not just Arabic.
Yeah.
Some of them are German, some of them are British, some of them are American, some of them are African American.
It's this open-ended thing of where does it end?
Right.
Where does terrorism end?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it is this open-ended thing that we always have our foot in because it's like, well, it's
and not
it's terrorism, and it's going to help the U.S.
It's not like you get a uniform when you become a terrorist that says like a big green jumpsuit that says I'm a terrorist, right?
Yeah.
And that's the danger of it in America is a lot of these sleeper cells, they're living in your community, and you might have no idea that they've become radicalized.
Yeah.
It's almost, in some regards, it's almost like a shadowy stealth type enemy that, you know, it's not your traditional soldier, so to speak.
Wendy writes, Congress should be first on the front lines. I agree. You want to send my kids there? Then
Yeah.
you better damn well bet that your ass better be out there fighting. That's all I'm saying. Sorry.
Agreed.
It just gets frustrating.
No.
Man. You know, we've been down this road so many times, and it's never ending, and nobody can stop it.
No,
nobody can stop it.
And to be honest, you know, I know we sit here and talk about. We've heard for the last 2.5 weeks that it's been a relatively stable region. Has it? Yeah. Has it really? I mean, because let's be honest, in the last 20 years, we've had many different factions. First, it was the Taliban, then it was Al-Qaeda. Then towards the end of the second Obama term, you had the rise of ISIS. And then Trump decimates and obliterates ISIS. And now here comes Hamas. So it's like 3 or 4 different factions, so to speak, with really the same general mission statement.
We're never going to be able to stamp out all of the countries and factions that hate us around the world.
Of
never.
course not.
So the only thing that we can do as the United States is to put up a strong defense to our own country, meaning don't let every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this country. Don't let's police our own borders and not let evildoers as best we can into the United States. That's how we fight this.
And also not just the southern border, because that's obvious because you can physically, you know, see the territory and, you know, the wall and the lack of finishing a wall and all of that. But let's not have an intel failure like Israel had in this country again, like we had on 9/11. Like there's no excuse in this country to ever again anything remotely close to 9/11 happening. Not even remotely close.
Lee Bow on the YouTube chat writes, major players on both sides want this conflict in the Middle East to continue for freaking ever. Yeah. I agree. This is not a partisan thing. It's literally both Republicans and Democrats that have a vested interest in making this happen. You want to send troops over there? Put troops on our border rather than sending them over to the Middle East. Put troops on our border.
Think about this.
I'm sure they'd be happy to do that.
For something that will impact us on a daily basis. You know, let's say the U.S. and Iran enter this conflict directly and it's officially a war and you have an election year. You know what gas is going to cost next year?
I know. By the way, Sid on the YouTube chat writes, can we go back to talking about Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it back to Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I've had it. Where's Tony Bruno at?
We don't care about the climate.
Or Britney Spears.
I started off talking about Colbert and Libs of TikTok.
Yes.
You know, look, these are the cuts that I'm given.
Yes.
This is what we have to do.
Hey, I have an Eagles classy gesture story coming up in a little bit for those that want something a little lighter.
John Kirby was in the press briefing room yesterday taking questions. Jackie Heinrich asked a question that we've been talking about for a little while now on the humanitarian aid that's going over to the Middle East. Has the money been diverted to Hamas? And don't worry, there's no indication, and they're keeping close eye on if that's going to happen or not. Cut 6.
But on the aid portion, how, for instance, are you going to convince people that this is not going to get into Hamas's hands when, for instance, we saw fraud with something like COVID relief money in the U.S. And we're now talking about securing an understanding with Hamas, a terror group, about how this humanitarian aid should be used. I mean, how can you convince people that that is going to be a worthwhile, necessary, and secure endeavor?
We certainly share concerns about any diversion of humanitarian assistance for Hamas purposes. I mean, for instance, fuel's a good example. We know that they need fuel to be able to electrify and to power up their tunnels, for instance, keep the lights on. So we understand that. We're not blind to the potential concerns here over diversion, which is why Ambassador Satterfield is on the ground. His whole purpose is to make sure that humanitarian assistance can get to the Palestinian people. We have seen no indications as of today that any of the trucks that Karine talked about, any of the material in those trucks, have been diverted to Hamas or been absconded by Hamas. That, in fact, every indication that we have is that it has, in fact, gone to the Palestinian people who are in desperate need for it. I would remind folks that we have trusted partners on the ground, humanitarian aid organizations, and of course the UN Relief Agency is on the ground, and they very much are taking a personal stake, a professional personal stake, in making sure that aid is getting where it's needed. We're going to watch it. Obviously, we're going to watch this closely. We don't want to see Hamas benefit any more than anybody else does.
I think it's a very good question from Jackie Heinrich. Why should the American public believe and trust that this won't go south on you? And we have seen countless times with whether it's here, COVID relief funds, our southern border, not knowing who comes into this country. And then, of course, when you hand over this type of aid, and think about it, you're aiding it to the north and you're aiding it to the south. You are releasing the $6 billion in funds to Iran, which is a big financer of this operation. And, oh, by the way, some of that, quote, humanitarian aid is going to end up in the hands of Hamas. They've got way too many people kind of, in a way, the Palestinians and Hamas, very similar to the Mexican cartel in Mexico. You don't know who is on the up and up and who's been corrupted. And that's going to be one of the big problems. So I think that was a very good question from Jackie. As Joe would say, where's Jackie at? 855-839-1210, the phone number. All right, that'll do it for the first installment of What's on the Cut Sheet. We will get to Dawn Stenzelin's Big Three on the other side. Also, a very classy gesture by Jeffrey Lurie and the Philadelphia Eagles from Sunday night. If you did not see this story, a very good look for the football team when it comes to the conflict in the Middle East, and we'll get to that on the other side. But first, let me get to my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. Was just texting with my sister last night. She's on the verge of acquiring a vehicle from the Piazza Auto Group. She's narrowed it down to a Land Rover or a Mercedes-Benz, and she has been blown away by the inventory and the selection. And she hasn't even met with the Piazza Auto Group people yet, but that's going to be happening in a matter of days, and she knows she's in good hands, just like I have been since really February, when I sampled a variety of their vehicles and then settled in around Memorial Day on the 2023 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition from Piazza Honda of Springfield. If you're a truck person like me, you are absolutely going to love this vehicle, and you can still take advantage of 0.9% APR financing with locations in Springfield, Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading. They've got options for everybody. And if you're not a truck person, that's fine. How about the Honda Civic? Incredible on gas. The award-winning Honda Accord, the CR-V, the newly reconfigured and redesigned Pilot SUV. It's an absolute stunner. The Piazza Auto Group, 17 brands, 35 locations. It is my go-to for all things automotive. It's going to be my sister's as well, Dawn Stenzlin, her boys. To find your new or certified pre-owned vehicle, just check them out like all of us are doing right now. PiazzaAutoGroup.com.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in the Philadelphia region. QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. If you've been told that more steroids or surgery are your only options, not so fast. Get a second opinion. Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. QC Kinetics does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very core of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your joint, which repairs and restores that damaged tissue. Imagine living life, especially this fall, with no more pain in your knees, your aching shoulder, your back, your hips. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Just call the local medical professionals, get a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000. Just call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Is the IRS after you? Do you owe them so much money you will never be able to pay them? Are they levying your bank accounts, garnishing your paycheck? Are you making monthly payments you cannot afford? If so, you need to call the Tax Problem Solver at 609-970-4634. I'm Charles Montesino, and I solve IRS problems. Do you have unpaid income or payroll taxes? Do you have unfiled returns? The IRS is starting to audit the employee retention credits. It doesn't matter. I can help. All I do is help people with IRS problems. I'm a certified public accountant and certified tax resolution specialist. That makes me one of the few people in the entire country that can help you. Again, my name is Charles Montesino, and I solve IRS problems. Call me at 609-970-4634 or go to taxproblemsolve.com. That's 609-970-4634. Call now and get started on the road to relief. Again, the number is 609-970-4634.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Confidence is super high this fall in Philadelphia sports, and I'm going to tell you why you should be super confident getting your car serviced at United Tire. Quality, the best in the business. Expertise, technicians who excel at their craft. Owners on site with 20 years experience and tremendous customer service. Now is the time for you to make the right choice about who services your car. United Tire and Service. For locations and information, go to UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit NJDiet.com.
This time of year, I replace, the wreath, the pink flowery wreath with the nice fall foliage wreath. Maybe you're looking at the exterior of your house and you're thinking, I wish I could spiff things up. What about that front door makeover? Or what about premium architecture shutters designed to last a lifetime, historically accurate, hardware options, lifetime warranty, really can make your house pop, make it look beautiful as maybe you invite family and friends over for the holidays. Whatever you're thinking about. Maybe you need new windows. Maybe you're thinking about energy efficiency. You can always trust my friends at Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. They've done beautiful work on my home. I love all their work. I love the patio doors especially, but you got to see all the amazing options available to customize your home. If that's what you need, the Chapman family team, they do it all. Stucco remediation, windows, doors, siding. There is a Chapman difference I'm always raving about. Meticulous work, outstanding service, high-quality products installed by high-quality people. They're going to respect your family budget, too. 610-431-8898. You can call them. You can text them, 610-431-8898. They're local. Mike and Mark Chapman started this business in Chester County. They're here. ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Warminster, we know your favorite station is WPHT.
Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
Kayal and Company, 8:35. Good to have you in here on a Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, Nick, Dawn, and Greg 855-839-1210. Get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Tweet us. Instagram us. Send us postcards, smoke signals, hate mail. Whatever you want to do. It's your world. We're just living in it. A lot of good stuff coming up. We've got some stuff in the world of television I want to get to. Whether or not the 2024 election can save TV. Think about where TV's at when we're posing that question. Also, the recipe is very simple. If you want people to consume good content, just keep it simple and keep it entertaining. And that's something that CBS has realized with the reruns that they're airing of Yellowstone, a ratings phenomenon that we have to get to. So we'll get to that as we continue this morning. And really a beautiful gesture by the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday night when it comes to Israel and the Middle East and our involvement, or some of the sad, tragic stuff involving American citizens. So we'll get to that as well. We'll also get to your calls. I know we've got some people on the line, so hang tight. 855-839-1210. But let's get to the news. 8:36, and here's Dawn Stenson with the Big 3 at 8.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal and Company.
And Big 3 at 8 this morning, sponsored by Best Work Industries for the blind. So many road closures this morning in Philadelphia, in and around the city. This as the funeral is underway for a Philadelphia police officer killed in that airport garage. So the streets near the Basilica are all shut down. This is a tribute and service in commemoration of 50-year-old Officer Richard Mendez, shot to death, 22-year veteran of the Philadelphia Police Department. A sea of law enforcement as his flag-draped casket was brought into the Basilica, not a dry eye, and just thousands of law enforcement have filled, and family and friends, not just from this area, but from across the country, paying tribute during this solemn morning in Philadelphia as the city buries one of its finest, Officer Richard Mendez, and funeral services for him. And there is his widow, his family members as well. So all three suspects in that situation, in that crime, heinous crime in Philadelphia, have all been caught, and these funeral services and the procession continue through today, through noon today. So many road closures in Philadelphia. And by the way, his partner who survived that attack, that shooting at the airport, Officer Raul Ortiz, had received an outpouring of support and a standing ovation from Phillies fans during one of our playoff series. And so it was a great moment for Philadelphia. I don't know if anything this evening for Game 7 is planned, but I know that Officer Raul Ortiz, his family, friends, and fellow officers said how much it meant to him.
Yeah, even if he couldn't make the game tonight, I would love to see him maybe like on the Jumbotron via Zoom, just to get the fans fired up. That would be a really touching moment.
And just to, I thought it was a great show of support.
Yeah.
And really, according to, I've talked to so many in law enforcement who said it just meant a lot, not just to these gentlemen's families, but just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just for everybody, because it's such a down time.
It's got to be really upsetting, too. I was just thinking about this, the tradition of when you apprehend a cop killer, cuffing him in the fallen officer's cuffs. I don't know if other officers, when they apprehend them, are cognizant of that at the moment. I'm sure some of them are because they know the tradition. But that's got to be an incredibly gut-wrenching, touching moment when you see one of your fallen brothers go down, and then that moment where you put the cuff on that loser. Just been thinking about that too.
Yeah, well put. Number 3, I will take you to, since Sid Weiss had asked for Sailor Twift or whatever. Not Sailor Twift, but Britney Spears. So we're learning more about Britney. She has a new book coming out, and she's on the cover of a bunch of magazines. One of the revelations, since you were talking about another brother lover, she reveals that she slept in the same bed as her big brother until the 6th grade, when her mom finally forbade it and insisted she return to her own room.
Yeah, that's weird. 12 years old, sleeping with your brother still? Yeah, I don't know about that.
It sounds like
I don't even want kids sleeping with parents after 6 years old.
Not that she said that there was anything that weird. It sounded like those kids had a lot going on, and
we also don't know the size.
Loved her brother.
We also don't know the size of the house, right? Maybe
Yeah,
it was
they
a small
weren't-
house.
Or the size of the bed.
Yeah, they weren't wealthy. They weren't wealthy people. Yeah, that's a good point, Greg.
Right. Was this
But-
back in the day when she was on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Well, I mean,
yeah, because she would have been in the 6th grade.
Yeah. Strange.
But I don't know. I just remember my brother John, and he would, if I was scared, and I would go in his room, and he'd say, "You have to scratch my back." So I was like scratching his back, my arm.
Well, he didn't have a back
holding my-
scratcher, one of
no,
those wooden
we
ones?
were little kid. We were like, I don't know, 4 and 6. And I'm like scratching. I'm like, Johnny.
I have a back scratcher at home right now. Love that thing.
But did you and Aaron, when you were little, did you
Sleep in the same bed?
Yeah, Greg was an
No.
only child, so he can't relate.
No.
So nobody got scared and said, "Can I?"
I mean, I'm 3 years older than my sister, so I mean, maybe in 1990 when I was 6 and she was 3,
Yeah.
it might have happened for like an
A little
hour,
bit.
like middle of a thunderstorm or something like that. But I have no recollection of ever being in the same bed with my sister. But I'm sure if I'm wrong, she'll text me in about 2 minutes.
She'll say, "What?
Yeah.
You're my hero. You were my protector."
No, I'm not her hero. Trust me.
But in this one, I'm not. Britney Spears, I feel sad for her. She obviously has a lot of mental health issues going on. But
Yeah, but she's been in the news too much lately. She's also a pain in the ass.
no,
Yes, she is. Dancing with knives. Then she got pulled over for
They were fake knives. They were plastic knives.
I'm just gonna say, if you have a celebrity death pool going, all my money's on her.
Brittany.
No, it's sad.
It's Brittany.
Yeah, exactly.
And she also said in her book that Justin Timberlake, I always liked him, but apparently she became pregnant. He forced her to have
when they
an
were
abortion.
18. Yeah. Yeah, Justin Timberlake got out, though, at the right time, I think, before she went crazy.
Forced her, like really, like it's the guy's fault.
I'm blaming the guy.
Okay.
I'm Team Brittany.
He went from Brittany to Jessica Simpson to Jessica Biel. He's gotten progressively better. I don't think Biel's crazy, but the first two were.
I know. I feel bad for Brittany. I hope all's well with her.
She's
well,
a
maybe.
kook. Give me a break.
All right, so celebrity death match. Brittany against Taylor Swift. Only one can survive. Who are you rooting for?
Well, Taylor's going to survive. Taylor is a total survivor, marketing queen.
Yeah.
Very wealthy, business. I mean, she's got a mind for business, too.
Did you guys see the front page of the New York Post today?
Yeah.
So we've got 4 T's, split screen, each of them getting half of the attention. We got Travis and Taylor to the left, and then Tehran Terrors to the right.
Oh, God.
What a world we're living in right now, where the two biggest stories are a tight end and a singer dating, and then we've got Iran and terror going on in the Middle East and our involvement. What a great time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, all the Taylor Swift news, to Sid's point, Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer hits #1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Here,
Travis Kelce's dad, Ed, talks. Very sweet, Taylor Swift.
Put the camera on me for a second there, Daniel. I have the front page of the New York Post.
Stalker in box 3 here.
There we go.
There we go.
Magic Bus. Look at that.
Magic Bus.
There we go.
Nice to see him kissing. A little peck on the cheek from Taylor.
Yeah.
Kisses Travis Kelce following the Kansas City Chiefs game.
If there's one couple
Little
that I wish would.
smooch.
I want the Eagles to play them in the Super Bowl, and I want them to beat them by 50.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
It's
a distraction.
Sickening.
Sickening.
Stalker, impose
He's
a
cute.
ban. I will actually adhere to the ban. I don't want these people brought up ever again. And I brought it up, so it's my fault.
So I don't know if you listen to their podcast because
No.
you're sick of the Kelce
Everybody's
brothers.
got a podcast.
But we have we have Jason. So in their podcast, they reveal, I'm just going to say this because it's a great story, that in there, Andy Reid calls during the draft. He calls Travis, the lesser brother, and gets him on. He goes, don't, like I'm paraphrasing, but don't mess this up. Because I guess Travis was like known as the goofball and Jason was always the smarter.
Yeah, I could see that.
Bigger, better brother.
Yep.
But Andy Reid gets on the phone, and the first thing he says, like, don't mess this up. And he goes, put your brother on the phone.
Oh.
And it was really a cute story about, and Jason said.
Well, he drafted both of them, I believe.
He did. And he had already, obviously, he had been here as our coach.
Yep, he drafted
Then
Jason and then went to Kansas
yeah,
City.
Yeah,
and
so,
drafted
but he gets his big brother on the phone.
Yep.
And Jason said, he's the best. He's the best. You'll never regret it. The best decision you'll ever make. Da-da-da-da. So I credit, again, we have the better brother.
What do we have too much of? Everybody with a podcast these days, or everybody's
theirs is good,
got a
though.
book? Like, because Brittany's writing a book. I feel like everybody's writing a book. That's like the equivalent now of a podcast.
To be honest with you, I would read a Britney Spears book.
Yeah.
Would you really?
Because you know there's some freaky, crazy stuff in there, and you know it's all true.
She does nothing for. I mean, it's like she's 20 years out of her career prime. Like she stopped performing at a high level.
Don Lemon.
No,
Kayal,
I'm not saying she's
White
out of
Don
her.
Lemon.
I'm not saying physically she's out of her.
Let me
prime.
tell you something.
But she hasn't been a hit in like 15, 20 years.
She's 40 something. She's
right.
long in the tooth.
She's
Like
gorgeous.
Beyonce kind of took the mantle from her, and Taylor Swift has taken it from her. She's yesterday. She's washed.
She's
It's
not.
over.
She has. Do you know how much? Look her up in Vegas. She's still performing in Vegas. She's a multi-gazillionaire. If you saw her out with her, I've seen her in person.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. Whatever. Yes, I would.
She's not past her prime.
No,
in any which
as
way.
as an act.
Dumb A.
As an act, not physically.
Doesn't
not
even know
sexually.
what a freaking moose knuckle is. Ding ding. She is not past her prime.
I need that. I need that
she-
gif where I'm just sitting back eating popcorn.
But speaking of gifts, by the way, but we're still in Dawn's Big Three, by the way,
are we?
in case for those who have
Well, let me
forgotten.
do my-
No, because I've hijacked it like an idiot, as I always do. Speaking of gifts, Sid Weiss wants a gif of you yelling, "We start at 6 a.m."
Is there
Oh,
one?
that'd be good.
Well, I think it's just a matter of you're on video, so if we can get the camera on Greg, and if you
Oh,
could just
yeah.
mouth
Could
it,
you
we don't
just
even
create
we
it?
don't even need you saying it. We just got to get the
Well, no,
the movement.
No,
motion
hang
of
on.
you
the whole
flapping
thing.
your gums.
Hang on. Listen. Everything I do and say on this radio show is authentic.
Yeah, it's organic.
I will not do anything
You're not a show pony.
Please.
pre-prompted.
Greg Stalker.
I will not do anything pre-prompted. So, look, if the mood arises
Oh,
for
come on.
me
Greg, just
to
pretend you're a
yell-
woman and fake it for once, would you?
Yeah, do what Brittany does when she's
No,
with
I will
Justin.
not. I will not fake anything.
All right.
I am authentic, damn it, and I will not fake things. Just, I'm sure there's going to be something I'm going to yell about
Oh,
soon.
yes.
So
We
just,
still got an hour and 13 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Keep the camera on him.
Yeah.
No.
All right,
don't.
we are sponsored by Best Work Industries for the Blind, which they have a great e-commerce store helping businesses succeed in all work environments. BestWorkSupplyCenter.com, offering traditional office products, cleaning supplies, furniture, technology, and so much more. Free shipping, next day delivery. Shop now. Save at BestWorkSupplyCenter.com. Thank you, Best Work Industries for the Blind, for sponsoring our Big Three.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Let me grab Ray. He's got some thoughts on Congress and the never-ending wars. Ray in Warminster, what's going on this morning, buddy?
Well, first of all, I don't even know if my comment's relevant anymore. You guys segued so much. So, real quick, I was put on hold at the Willow Grove exit of the Turnpike, and I'm all the way almost in Ohio right now. But anyway.
Ray's cell phone is roaming right now.
It is, man. It is. So, did you guys see the Babylon Bee article about what Israel was going to do to Gaza? They were going to cut off all the news feeds about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
I love that damn account.
I thought that was pretty clever, honestly. You know.
Yep.
But now, what I was going to say about Congress. Look, man, our fight's at home. I drank the Kool-Aid back in the day, being Republican. I always used to think Republicans were the greatest. Well, we got some real idiots on our side too, right?
Sure.
Our fight's at home. I am waiting for a Saddam Hussein moment. I don't know if you guys ever saw the video of Saddam Hussein calling names at front of the bath party.
Yep.
Where they were just calling people's names out. Yep. I'm waiting for a convoy of Humvees to pull up to Congress and start ripping people out of their seats.
Okay.
I just can't. We have some real. Well, I don't want anything bad to happen to them. Don't get me wrong.
No.
What I'm trying to say is there's some people that just need to go away. They don't give a damn about this country. It's all about wars and making money off the wars.
That's correct. The war machine is very profitable, Ray. We appreciate the call. Ray just got through Ohio. He's now in the state of Michigan.
He's right though.
Yeah,
he's 100% right. We've done this dance before,
Yep.
and we're doing it again. And it's just we never learn. We never learn from history ever.
No, we don't. Let's end the third hour with a feel-good story.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles. And I did not actually see this play out on Sunday night in real time. I'm not sure if NBC actually zoomed in and made reference to or elaborated on this. But the Eagles pulled off an incredibly classy and heartfelt gesture for Americans being held hostage by Hamas, honoring those on Sunday night during the game. Dozens of Americans, as we know, killed in the horrifying terrorist attack in Israel carried out by Hamas, and 10 American citizens still currently held by the terror group. Status remains unknown, while many in America, have rallied in support of Hamas, which is absurd again. Following the slaughter of innocent Israelis, the Eagles made it clear against the Dolphins what side they are on. They stand with the Americans being held and against Hamas. They left 10 open seats with an American flag posted at each one in honor of the remaining American hostages. This picture is on social media if you want to see it. The Eagles went on to say, today at Lincoln Financial Field, we're flying 10 American flags in 10 empty seats to honor the Americans currently being held hostage. These hostages were just 10 of the 200 kidnapped during the terrorist attacks on Israel. And definitely a classy move. Jeffrey Lurie, always kind of very sharp with these sort of things. A great owner for many reasons. But the Eagles, more often than not, seem to get it right when it comes to the,
Agreed.
They're the opposite of the Biden administration.
By the way, just for full transparency's sake, they weren't the only NFL team to do it.
Yeah, there was a handful of them.
Yeah, Phil in fact told me that the New York Giants did as well.
Okay.
But also NBC did show it. I don't know if
Did
you
they
saw
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on
beautiful night in South Philadelphia. Yeah, Mike, if you were in South Philadelphia or Center or anywhere else for 1 or 2 nights, you wouldn't say how beautiful it is.
They should take that drone and go down Kensington. Go through Kensington and see everybody on a train.
I know. Could you imagine that?
Here's Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and then Chris Collinsworth starts breaking it down. Now here's a guy who's on Trank. His foot will be falling off in 2 days. Anyway. So a nice gesture by the Philadelphia Eagles. And also, too, yesterday, very newsworthy, the Eagles made a monster trade as they traded for Kevin Byard, the safety from the Tennessee Titans. Kevin Byard's a Philly guy, and I saw him play in person for 2 years in 2018 and 2019 when I was down in Nashville doing sports talk. So the Eagles just got themselves, I'm not going to say he's Brian Dawkins, but he's pretty damn good, and they didn't have to give up a whole heck of a lot. They gave up like a 5th and a 6th round draft pick and a player that's mediocre at best. So Howie Roseman addresses a big need for those Eagle fans that care about that stuff.
One comment going back to your comment about Britney Spears being in her prime. Michael writes on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Is Mick Jagger still in his prime?
No.
He has a new
Thank you.
Well, they have a new album coming out. By the way, their new album, Hackney Diamonds. Their best album they've put out since Some Girls in 1978.
Can we play the single Angry when we come back? Because I love that new single.
Actually, that's
you
not
didn't answer the question.
That's not the best song on the album.
Is Mick Jagger past his prime?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, he's not.
Mick
He just
Jagger?
put out a huge album.
That album is
I've
the
heard
best
it.
he's done since
I like it.
He's been 40 years old.
Yeah, but generally speaking, he's washed. You
not.
You get a moment here and there where you can still fire up the fastball.
The fastball, he has the same waistline he had when he was 18.
How old is he now?
80.
Yeah. He's not in his prime. Nobody that's 80 can argue they're in their prime. That's impossible.
But 44 for women or
however. I'm saying
42?
is Britney as an act is over. It's done. She's been done. She's still hot as hell.
She's crazy hot.
Well, yes. Who's got the more crazy eyes, Britney or AOC? What'd you rather do? Hang out with...
Stop.
Would you,
Greg, go to something.
What would you rather? Would you rather
we're trying to help you.
Sit on the bed while AOC posts a video on Instagram, or be in the living room while Britney's juggling knives?
Dawn, there was a reason I brought up that comment because I knew where this was going to go.
I know.
It's almost like I'm doing a radio show here.
Someone's prime is not based on their years on this earth, and Mick Jagger is a great example of that. It depends on the person.
Is Mick Jagger still in his prime?
We got to go all stones for the 9 o'clock hour.
He's
Musical
like Yoda.
request.
Nobody would discuss, is Yoda in Star Wars in his prime?
I will
You wouldn't
say-
think about his age.
Let me do this, and I know
He is wise. He is.
I know Dawn has a library coming up here, but I just want to say this:
Yeah.
that that angry song is not the best song on that album.
Really?
The new album. The best song is "Hold Please."
Hold Please. Sounds like a good hit.
Whole Wide World.
Whole Wide World.
Whole Wide World is the best song of that. If you are not The fact that these guys can still write a song like this at 80 years old is incredible. I'll play it when we come back from the break.
All right. 855-839-1210. We'll come back. We'll get to that. And then also, we have to get to a very important day for House Republicans. By the way, most Republicans within Congress do not approve of what is going on with the infighting. We'll tell you what the percentage is. And then also, Donald Trump says only one individual can get the votes needed to become Speaker. And it's not Byron Donalds. The details on the way. Final hour next on Kayal and Company.
You know, we were just talking about what it means to be in your prime. And part of that, if you think about Mick Jagger at 80, he's feeling good. He's doing the dance moves. Are you dancing? Maybe you stop dancing because you need QC Kinetics. See? The future of joint pain relief is right here in Philadelphia. Advanced regenerative medicine. It's awesome. It's amazing. So many of you have told me that QC Kinetics is like a miracle for you. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, just hold on just a second. Get that second opinion. Just get a second opinion, would you? Learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics, it does not mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root, the very core of the problem using concentrated healing properties placed directly into your aching joint, which restore and repair that damaged tissue. How awesome does that sound? So imagine living your life this fall, no more pain in your knees, your aching hips, your shoulder, your back. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Life is about motion. So whether you want to get back on the dance floor, maybe improve your golf game, whatever that feels like or looks like to you, QC Kinetics, it's truly giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Just call them. They're local. Get a free consultation today with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000, QC Kinetics. Call them today before lunchtime. Will you do this? 215-999-3000. Tell Dawn sent you.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me for years talk about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements after making their omega-3s as part of my daily routine. From supporting heart health to promoting pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Jeff. He says the benefits of Rescue Omegas are worth it. Helps reduce my inflammation and lower my cholesterol. Been taking it for years. See, people like Jeff have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Use the code online at res-q.com. That's res-q.com. Remember the code OMEGA50, OMEGA50. Buy one, get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
Hi, this is Dr. Brad Schaefer. As a podiatrist, I can tell you no two people's feet are alike, which is why I recommend Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotic inserts. They're customized for your feet, so you get a unique solution your feet really need, not just a one-size-fits-all insole. They're clinically proven to provide pain relief for achy feet, knees, lower back, plantar fasciitis, and heels. Take the Dr. Scholl's custom fit orthotics assessment in Walmart today. Now in the foot care aisle.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well,
no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra with a tribute to Philadelphia sports fans at Springfield High School in Delaware County, Saturday, November 11th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
Don't let them silence you. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
The streets I used to walk on are full of broken glass, and everywhere I'm looking, there's memories of my past. The filthy flag full of the smell of sex and gas.
Whole wide world. Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones, new album, 80 years old, still cranking out hits, quality music, unlike Britney Spears.
It's such a great song.
They're very good. I like this. I haven't heard this one. Do you like Angry though, or am I alone on that one?
No, I like Angry.
Okay.
I'm telling you, this album is their best album since Some Girls.
Okay,
1978.
really?
Yes.
All right. Got a good vibe to it. 855-839-1210. Kayal and Company here on this Tuesday morning. You can get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Morning mystery movie clip coming up in about 17 minutes. Another 4-pack of tickets to the Battleship New Jersey in Camden. Part 2 of the cut sheet. What's on tap for the Dawn Show and who won Twitter today. But coming up 9 o'clock this morning, House Republicans will once again gather, and we will see what transpires. Some people talking about a behind closed doors vote, a secret vote, so to speak, and then later in the afternoon having the formal vote out on the floor. 9 candidates. My number 2 has emerged as a possibility, and that is Byron Donalds of Florida, the 44-year-old. As you recall, it was Jim Jordan 1, Byron Donalds 2. So I will gladly take Byron Donalds, but I do not believe that it is remotely close to a certainty, a formality, or a lock by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, Donald Trump has said only one individual can get the votes needed to become Republican House Speaker, and that individual is Jesus. That is correct. Donald Trump says Republicans need an act of God to find a candidate for House Speaker who could reach the 217 votes needed to take the gavel. The former president has yet to put a stamp of approval on any of the current 9 candidates, although he has mentioned that frontrunner Representative Tom Emmer called him over the weekend. Trump saying yesterday when he was in New Hampshire, quote, I think, and he's referring to Mr. Emmer, I think he's my biggest fan now because he called me yesterday. He told me, I'm your biggest fan, Trump said, adding that he had talked to a number of House Speaker candidates. And you know what? The fact that Trump hasn't put the MAGA stamp of approval, so to speak, on a specific speaker this time around might be a good thing because he put it on Jim Jordan. And I think Jim Jordan kind of already had that stamp of approval. And it didn't work out well for Jim Jordan. So I don't know if he would put it on Tom Emmer, if he would put it on Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds has been very vocal in his support of Donald Trump in the past, and which is interesting because Byron Donalds is from Florida, the state that Ron DeSantis governs, and he made it very clear that he was rooting, pulling for, and advocating for Donald Trump to win the GOP primary and the nominee. So we'll see how that plays out today. my gut feeling is we get nothing accomplished today as far as an actual vote and a person emerging. I think, honestly, and now we're, I think, 20 days in, if my math is correct on the calendar, without a speaker since Kevin McCarthy's ouster. I'm just hoping by the end of the week this is finalized. I don't know if a vote will happen on, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of Dawn's show or Dom's show, or if this will finally break and come to its closure during Zioli's show. But I think you're going to see more of the same today. I think you're going to see more theatrics. You're going to see some people coming out. Marjorie Taylor Greene will be the first to, when she's in her vehicle transportation to or from, to go live on Instagram and say this, that, or the other thing. But it's not just us. It's not just people that vote for these people or talk about it for a living that are getting, flustered with this. According to a new USA Today Suffolk University poll, 67% of Americans believe the House should elect the speaker as soon as possible, compared to 25% who don't care if a new speaker is chosen. And the vast majority of Republicans agree. An overwhelming 57% of Republican voters want the speaker drama to be over, compared to 34% who are willing to put up with a longer delay in the House choosing its new leader. Where are you at? I mean, I know we talk about this when we talk about, the government, shutting down. Oh, life will go on. The government will be just fine. But this is, I think, a larger issue here, which is why I do believe. Now, look, the Senate could easily flip red and the House could easily flip blue. And I think that is a distinct possibility. I would actually argue that there's a better chance that the House flips blue than the Senate flips red. But that's where people are thinking. That's what people think are trending to be in those directions. But you're looking at the larger issue. And that's why Trump is saying only Jesus could. Even Trump knows what an unmitigated disaster this is. And when you go through the battle that it took to take back control by such a small margin, and then McCarthy goes 15 rounds, then we have Steve Scalise, who quickly realizes it's not meant to be. Jim Jordan goes 3 rounds, but it goes way against him each time, from 20 Republicans to 22 to 25 saying no thanks. And now here we are 3 weeks in tomorrow. I mean, there's a possibility we could go a month without a speaker, which just goes to really highlight the fact that this is a party, as Dawn has said, that needs to get it together. But, we can say that until the cows come home. Dawn can say it until she's blue in the face. I don't really see a single guy of these 9 candidates that are thrown into the mix here that are going to unite, rally, and galvanize the Republican Party. We always talk about how the Democrats, at the end of the day, even if it's in the 23rd hour, they rally behind one individual. We could end up with a speaker that is selected and voted for in the next 3 days, and there will still be that divide. There's going to be some concessions, but deep down there's going to be people that don't approve of whoever ultimately rises up from the bottom here.
I mean, they're meeting right now. They just started speaking within the last, few minutes. And I think that they have said that they want to unofficially, behind closed doors, right, pick somebody today and then have the official vote. So I believe that we're going to get a speaker this week. I do. I think it's going to happen this week. And I think they realize that they're starting to look like a laughing
Are you
stock.
okay with the closed door setting behind?
Yes.
Because
yes.
Nancy Mace has come out publicly on social media and said that that's cowardly. Put your name to it. Own it. You're going to have to vote for it anyway when you get out on the floor officially. So what is the point of the secret behind the closed door meetings?
Because, they have, well, I'll tell you why, Nancy. First of all, don't talk about your relations with your fiance at a prayer breakfast. Not appropriate, good timing.
She had to get to Tim's speech.
I know, right?
She had no time for the soon-to-be husband.
And they have that razor edge majority. They have a 5-seat edge in the U.S. House, and so they could lose it. These are highly contested areas. Now, I will tell you, I know in North Carolina, the Republican-controlled legislature is working on some redistricting, but so that could strengthen Republicans. However, there are Democrats trying to pick up seats and this has to do with the redistricting that we in Pennsylvania have dealt with, but that's New York, Louisiana, Georgia. So they're redistricting may be the story here moving forward. It may not because of this mishigas that they're going through. But I would just say to Nancy Mace, no, because when people go up for reelection and in the heat of the debate, they say something publicly and then it's used in a public ad. And why? Why do we have to hear all of your nonsense? Why do we have to hear your process? The country is going through you know what. I know they don't feel it. You know why? Because they make nearly 200 G's a year, 179. They have incredible benefits, better benefits than any of us,
right,
as far as medical benefits, and then their opportunities and just their investments. That's the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, 200K is their baseline, so they're not feeling the pinch like the rest of us in this country.
Not.
Quite frankly,
no,
they should feel our pain.
And all the bribes they take, and all the
gold
and all
bars,
and all the funding they get.
Yeah. That 200K, that's just on the books.
Yeah,
exactly.
The gold bar in your pants.
Yeah.
No,
hey, Senator Bob, is that a gold bar in your
By
pants?
the way, he, we haven't really talked about it, but he's fighting this until the very end.
Yes.
He's like, nope, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's odd, too, to me about this, and not to get sidetracked, but it's odd to me with the Bob Menendez thing. All the Democrats are calling on him to resign, but not the Republicans. What do you think is the reasoning for that?
Well, that's a good point. That is a good point.
I haven't heard one Republican come out and...
Fetterman's been one of the most vocal people against Menendez.
All of the more liberal Democrats are calling on him to resign, and I haven't heard a peep from any single Republican.
Because I think... So the reason the Democrats can is because Murphy is a Democrat who's the governor, and it's all Democrats controlling in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, how would it go? Would Murphy appoint, because here in Pennsylvania, remember that we had the discussion that Governor Josh Shapiro, if Fetterman had won, which he did, and then he resigned at some point, Shapiro then would appoint somebody.
Yeah.
I think it's the same as I recall in Jersey. So let's just say Chris Christie were still governor. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then it would not be the same scenario, because I think we've seen that before.
Yep.
But to your point, I think the Republicans, why don't they call it out? Because I think that they just like to sit back, get the popcorn, and watch Democrats have a hot mess and corruption.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But on the other hand, Menendez has been in there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think basically he's saying, I'm going to fight this, but also if I do a little negotiation, I know all of y'all's little dirty dirt. And I'm going to turn, I'm going to become a rat on all of you. Maybe that's a piece of this.
It's so frustrating with this, too, with when you think about just the Republicans and they can't get it together. I've talked about how I think this is the weakest group of Democrats I've ever seen in my lifetime. If you can't beat them, when are you ever going to beat them? And you just think about it from Bob Menendez to John Fetterman, on up through the ranks. And then we just talked about the disarray with Squad Dems. We played that for you in the cut sheet this morning. Where
just crazy.
Yeah, Torres and Ilhan Omar. I mean, say what you want about, the progressive caucus wing. You've got, at least Torres says that, hey, Israel's not the bad. And Omar wants to rip his head off for that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, it's like they're burning down the civilization, and we can't figure out who we want to speak for us.
I'm really getting tired of these Democrats in disarray, and we fall into that trap too. Everybody here on the station falls into that trap here too. The Democrats in disarray. Oh, they've never been more in disarray. Like they are when it really comes down to it. This party will unite, and there's nothing that has demonstrated over the last 4 years that their disarray, as the media and pundits and talk radio hosts like to say, has affected them in the least, because they've won everything they've tried for in the last 4 years. So this whole thing with the Democrats are in disarray.
Well, they didn't win the House back
at the end of
fall.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yes. No, they will rally. But right now, and it starts at the top. A majority of Democrats know that Joe Biden is not fit to serve the job. And it's the trickle-down effect. It's Joe's a mess. Then you've got the faction of Squad Dems, division within the Squad Dems. Then you've got scandals galore. Our Virginia Democrat candidate, remember the sex tape that we talked about? She's also been linked to election fraud as well. I mean, they are a hot mess. But to your point, and it goes up to the last minute, they eventually get behind whatever the message is, whatever the cause is, whatever the politician or whoever the person might be. Yes. But
But a lot of it, too...
There's no stability with them right now.
A lot of it, too, to the people like us and the pundits and stuff who live and breathe this stuff every day, the majority of people don't. So to us, yes, it looks like a hot mess. But to people who are kind of paying attention on the periphery, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, yes, the economy could be affecting them. But, like, if in most people's mind, if they had a choice, with that or reelecting Trump, I mean Democrats, they're gonna choose the other.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up, and I'll just put a bow on this conversation with this last piece of the poll. The same poll found the House's overall favorability rating in the toilet. In all, 54% of voters have an unfavorable opinion of the House, compared with just 25% of Americans who have a favorable opinion.
I wanted to go through this list of the potential House speakers, and should we give them our votes on if we think they're going to get it or not?
I can already tell you what mine would be, but go ahead.
Representative Tom Emmer.
He's the presumptive front runner.
But he's the one that Trump does not like.
Well, no, Trump says
right?
he loves him.
Yeah, Trump said that
he did.
He wants no. Trump said Emmer has been calling him and wants to be his best friend now.
Yeah. Take that for
How does that sound?
Sounds desperate.
Representative.
Hi, this is Tom again. Did you check the box? Will you be my BFF?
By the way,
how does that sound?
By the way, Trump's endorsement of Jim Jordan didn't help Jim Jordan.
Yes.
Right.
So, I'm not.
Which is why I'm saying I don't know that you necessarily want the endorsement right now.
Exactly. Right. Representative Kevin Hearn from Oklahoma.
No.
Never heard of him. Representative Jack Bergman. Bergman is a 40-year veteran of the U.S. Marines. Is also running for the speaker role.
Thank you for your service.
He's from Michigan.
No thanks.
Representative Austin Scott from Georgia.
Georgia. Bury me in Georgia.
Yeah.
No thanks.
But Byron Donalds.
That's my guy. 44-year-old from Florida.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it,
I know.
He ain't going to get it either.
That's what I'm saying. I know he won't because it's what I want.
So who's it going to be then?
Honestly, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have the same old divide. Byron Donalds is by far the most conservative of that bunch, and he will run into the same buzzsaw that Jim Jordan ran into. But I do think Byron Donalds qualified a lot of. I gave you some of the reasons yesterday. He's on the finance committee. He's got a financial background, so I feel a little bit more at ease with him when it comes to the economy, things like that. But it's a small part of me, but because I know how they'll react. I want to see the Democrats and the left lose their mind, seeing an African-American rise up in the Republican Party to become House Speaker.
Yeah.
They will flip their lid.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be Emmer because they're already saying that the former president has told, there are all these sources saying Trump does not want Emmer for the job, that Emmer is openly hostile to Trump, which is not helpful since Trump will be the nominee. So that's the word on Emmer, that there's all this infighting and whisper campaigns and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be Emmer. I think I agree more and more. I just think Byron Donalds.
So Trump doesn't like him because he's not nice to Trump, really?
Pretty much.
No, I have no idea. I mean, that he has a Trump problem.
It's like
I think
school. The whole thing is like grade school.
No,
I don't like you because you're not nice to me.
I actually thought that Trump said. I thought that Trump had said that he liked Byron Donalds.
He does, but
he didn't endorse him.
Right, there's not been the official.
Which
he hasn't given anybody the Jim Jordan stamp.
Which is good.
Yes, which I said yes.
Yeah.
John Giacca on the YouTube chat says, "Can we appoint Dana White for the UFC for speaker?"
Dana White.
I would love that. Representative Mike Johnson from Louisiana.
Yeah.
No. Representative Pete Sessions from Texas.
No.
Representative Gary Palmer from Alabama.
Roll Tide. No thanks.
I think that's it.
That's 8.
Wow, boy.
Did you get our Pennsylvania guy?
Mike Kelly?
No.
Muser.
Oh.
Muser, right?
He's not on the. This is
Who am I thinking of?
This is the CNN list, and he's not on
The
it.
9. He's not even on it.
No.
Wow, that's embarrassing, dude.
What a bunch of no names aside from Byron Donalds.
But you know what though? Let's be honest. Sometimes you can find the next rising star amongst no namers.
Sure.
You don't always have to go for the household stock name. I think Byron Donalds has actually kind of, even though he's young and you can argue somewhat inexperienced at 44, he's kind of become the most recognizable figure. I mean, he's become a guy that has been very vocal You've seen him a lot in the last 9 to 12 months. I think he's really shown a lot of leadership. Again, that's my choice, so I know it probably won't happen. But
Howard Levin on YouTube says Emmer wants to get rid of the Electoral College.
Is that right?
Really? Wow.
Well, Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Muser dropped out of his bid for Speaker about 8 o'clock last night.
Oh, okay.
So he
Same
did.
time the Phillies checked that.
Yeah, I know. Stop. Wait, was he one of the fans in the stands and he just walked out early?
Left early.
Yeah, made his way back to his Mercedes.
Ann writes, Nick, stop picking your teeth on camera.
I'm picking my teeth.
You're picking your teeth?
No, I was actually biting a nail off.
Well, that's not good for your enamel.
Somebody asked me one time, like, how does it feel to be live on camera?
I forget I'm
4
on
hours,
camera.
4
I
hours
don't
every
ever
day?
look at it.
And I'm just like, it's awful because people literally pick out everything you're doing.
Yeah. So I don't care. I know I'm a slob. Yeah, we're not learning anything new about me. Yeah. No, honest to God, I really forget the cameras are even in here.
So we've come to the conclusion that none of these people are going to become the next speaker?
No, we said Byron.
I'm rooting for Byron. I don't think it will be him. And I hate taking the favorite. But, I mean, if I had to bet on it and there was odds, I'd probably have to take Tom Emmer.
Really?
I mean, who else? I mean, to be honest, a few of them I've never even heard of. So, I mean,
dude, I follow this for a living. Most of them I haven't heard of.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the guy for Alabama. The guy from Oklahoma, my sister's husband says you don't want any part of him. My sister's husband, a staunch conservative, says that's not the guy.
Okay, then we don't want him.
Yes.
Scratch him off.
He's from Oklahoma.
If Aaron's husband says he's not good enough, then that's the final word.
That's correct. All right, 9:21. It's time for another edition of the Morning Mystery Movie Clip.
And now, the Morning Mystery Movie Clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
I gave him an impossible task. A job no one could have pulled off. The bodies he buried that day laid the foundation of what we are now. And then my son, a few days after his wife died, you steal his car and kill his dog.
Father, I can make this right.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
4-pack of tickets to the Battleship New Jersey. If you can identify that movie clip that came out 9 years ago today, caller 12-855-839-1210. 4-pack of tickets to the Battleship New Jersey. Kayal and Company, as we come back, we'll find our winner and also a very heartwarming story about a dog. A little lighter note to end today's show. Dawn will be able to comment on this. I think this dog might have been friends with Buddy.
Oh.
Yes, that's correct. Kayal and Company, back after this.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Hi, it's John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210. If you or someone you know has been diagnosed with cancer or undergoing treatments that cause severe fatigue or brain fog, medical hydration may be right for you. Dr. Molly Fantasia of Innovative Medical Associates has more than 30 years' experience in helping cancer patients to improve their quality of life.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Nutrients delivered right to the cells support your immune system through surgery, chemotherapy, or wherever you may be on your cancer journey. Visit innovativemedicalassociates.com to schedule a free consultation with Dr. Molly in their Marlton, New Jersey office. And join us on Sunday mornings at 8 and again at 4 for Health Watch to learn more about the benefits of medical hydration for cancer, autoimmune diseases, and more.
Looking for a new Ford? Winter Ford has the vehicle for you. Choose from our large selection of new F-150s, Explorers, Escapes, and Bronco Sports today. Winter Ford also takes care of you after the sale. Stop in their service department with no appointment necessary. Call 800-428-4000 for offer details. Visit in person or online at winterford.com. Winter Ford, people you trust, service and value you'll love.
We know you're excited because Eagles football is back. With the free Odyssey app, you can jump back and listen to the moments that matter, even if you missed it live. Hear Marks and Reese break down the offense, or listen to Nick Sirianni's interview with the 94 WIP Morning Show.
Yeah, I've been in a game where we scored a touchdown, and I'm fist pumping with the fans. I don't think I've done that since I played college football.
Stay close to the Eagles, wherever you are this season. Download the free Odyssey app today. AUDACY.
Hey, you know life throws you curveballs. Stress, anxiety, and unhappiness. I'm Dave Raymond, keynote speaker, and yes, the original Philly fanatic. And I want to talk to you. I've been sharing my message around the world. It's a message about how fun and happiness can make the world a better place and can save your life. Contact me now at daveraymondspeaks.com. I'd love to speak for your team at your next company outing, conference, or meeting. See you soon at daveraymondspeaks.com.
Hey, this is Norman Chaikin, also known as Norman the Floorman. I just paid $100 for a belt. It doesn't fit. What a huge waste. Calling all developers, investors, house flippers, and savvy shoppers. I'm selling plush carpet at 99 cents per square foot. I haven't sold carpet that cheap since 1969. Visit us online at normancarpet.net or visit our Bryn Mawr or Conshohocken showroom. Call for a free home estimate and, oh yes, 48-hour installation available. That's 800-220-RUGS.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave. Don't treat yourself like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Hey, Paoli. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
That's right. We never caused any pain. Just giving you the facts. Just the facts. Kayal and Company live here Tuesday morning. More of the Rolling Stones, Angry, which I believe was the, quote, first single, so to speak. Because this was picked up by a lot of different outlets, so to speak.
Yeah, the album just actually was released.
Summer? July?
Not this. Yeah, I think it was this past Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I love this one. All right, 855-839-1210.
80 years old, they're making some of their best music.
That's right.
It's incredible.
And Britney's juggling knives. Some people's talents never disappear.
Are they still in their prime, Dawn?
Yes. Britney, by the way, has her network worth $65 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you can buy tickets to her Vegas show for 2024. And by the way, she had at least one hit single just within the past year with Sir Elton John.
Oh.
He did?
Yeah.
She did?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right.
She did.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Dawn's back in Brittany, baby.
I'm back in Brittany.
All right. Let's see if we've got our winner for the morning mystery movie clip this morning.
Should we bet on how she goes? Does she
what?
Does she OD?
No.
Does she? No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we could do a prop bet. I'm in the hole. I'm trying to get out here.
Does she take one of those knives that she's juggling and?
Am I getting plus money here to get out of the
They're
hole?
not real. They were plastic knives. She's just a good little juggler.
Good little juggler.
The song with Elton John was "Hold Me Closer."
Oh, didn't hear it.
Britney Spears.
Must have missed that one.
OD in 6 months. I'm not. Look, I'm not.
I don't think she-
I'm
I
not
don't think
wishing for it. I don't want it to happen. I'm just
Wraps,
playing the odds.
Wraps car around telephone pole in 9 months.
Okay.
I hope she does.
I get plus 470 on that one, according to FanDuel. All right, so let's go to Bill here. He's going to get the 4-pack of tickets this morning for the morning mystery movie clip. Bill, good morning. What movie clip did we just play for you, sir?
Morning. That was John Wick.
That is correct. October 14th, 2014. Congratulations, Bill.
Thank you.
4-pack of tickets to see the
Thank you.
Battleship New Jersey.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your show quite a bit, guys.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate it. We try to enjoy it as well. All right. Final story of the day before we get to the cut sheet.
Sorry, Sharon asked what the over/under is with the overdose. Look, we're not asking for I don't want this to happen. I want everybody to be happy and healthy.
Death pool promoters.
I'm just playing the odds.
Yeah.
So I think the over/under is probably what? 6 months.
She's selling tickets. She's doing well.
I'm going to get her through election season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're taking the over.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
go
saying
over.
she's gonna. So what does that mean? You're taking the over.
She'll see at least another 9 to 10 months. Look, I'm in the prognostication business, all right? It's not a glamorous position, but somebody has to do it.
Oh, Bubba45 wants to know if Brittany or Hunter goes first. Oh, that's just not right. That's just not right.
That's a good question, actually.
All right, let's get the feel-good story.
Yeah, let's get to the feel-good story.
I can feel our juju just wearing off.
Me too. That's what happens when the Novocaine wears off. So,
oops, she did it
What?
again. Oh no, oh, sorry.
Oops, she did it again. Stop.
we're going to hell.
Yeah,
It's a sin.
fun.
So, speaking of leaving this world, the world's oldest dog has now officially passed away. This dog, named Bobby, B-O-B-I, was known to show up at the Stenslands from time to time and play poker with Buddy. And he was a bicentennial man's best friend. Pet lovers were devastated to learn that Bobby, the world's oldest dog, passed away over the weekend just months after he turned 31 years old. That's staggering.
Wow.
The
31.
average dog lives 10 to 13 years.
Man.
According to this story. Bobby made it until he was 31. The long-lived canine's death was confirmed on Facebook by Dr. Karen Becker, a veterinarian who met Bobby on several occasions. Bobby was vaxxed, by the way, for those asking. She goes on to say, last night, this sweet boy earned his wings, she wrote in the touching tribute. Despite outliving every dog in history, his 11,478 days on Earth would never be enough for those who loved him. Godspeed, Bobby. You've taught the world all you were meant to teach. This dog, which it kind of looks like, I'm looking at the story in the New York Post, it kind of looks like a kind of a spin-off a little bit of like a golden retriever-ish type dog, kind of like that rusty red look. The dog was apparently a purebred Rafeiro do Alentejo, which passed away on October 21st at his home in Portugal, where the dog lived his entire life with the Costa family, C-O-S-T-A. That according to the Guinness Book of World Records. The dog was born May 11th, 1992. Think about that. Go back to 1992.
No,
I mean, that Bush was still president at that point when this dog was
Such
born.
a lovely time.
An eye-popping 31 years and 165 days.
Wow.
Average lifespan of a dog ranges from 10 to 13 years.
So in dog years, that dog was 210 years old.
Oh, my God. That is unbelievable. You know, I think this dog, let's be honest. The dog could have kept going, but he saw that we're on the verge of World War III. He looked at inflation. He saw that Joe Biden was running the free world, and he said, you know what, now's as good a time as ever.
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out.
So I had to look it up what they fed Bobby.
Yeah.
And because I always think, they fed Bobby exclusively human food that was watered down.
Oh.
and then they removed any seasonings. So like chicken with green beans or something like that.
He was eating better than I am.
And so he ate very healthy, kept a healthy weight.
Yeah.
I also think it's important that Bobby had freedom. They never tied him up in his life.
Wow.
They never, because you should never tie up a dog.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah. So the last couple of years he was locked down. I mean, he spent his final, think about this, he spent his 28th, 29th, and 30th year on Earth living through the pandemic.
Sid Weiss will love this. He spent most of his time hanging out in the backyard, hanging out with cats.
Yeah.
They had cats too, so he had socialization.
That's all I've ever really wanted to do, just lift my leg from time to time, pop a squat, and, eat watered down food.
Thank you for that classy description.
Pretty much what I do after the show.
Stop.
So there you go.
See, if there's anything I took from that is that pussy cats can
keep you young.
Keep you young.
There you go.
That's right.
Just
if you're lonely, you don't want to be lonely.
Let's get it back to Israel and Hamas, shall we? This is too much. This is too enjoyable. Let's talk about death and destruction, shall we?
Yeah, just a little help from the pussy cat will make you live a long, healthy life.
How old is Buddy, Dawn? Double digits now?
He's 14 that we know of.
So your dog has actually
He's a
exceeded the
rescue.
lifespan.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but he is a healthy weight. We try to walk him every day, but he gets a lot of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And we do, I feed him better than probably anybody in the family.
See, this is how you live long in this lifetime. You eat healthy.
I know.
You get outside, you exercise. Yep. You stay the hell off TikTok. And, and you might end up exceeding the expectations of a lifespan.
Yep. See?
There you go.
It's true.
All right. 9:36 Tuesday morning. Let's find out what's on the cut sheet part 2, shall we?
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. Former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, who is also, the word is that he might be running for president as in that No Labels party, I think.
Yeah.
That's correct, right, Dawn?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, he has his aspirations of unifying the country, as he says. He was on CNBC this morning discussing hate speech. I would like you guys to know, you, Nick Kayal, and Dawn Stanslin, you guys are on the same side as Larry Hogan.
Okay.
Because he thinks that cheering for the terrorist acts on campus is hate speech. And it was threatening to other people. So if it's threatening to other people, then it's hate speech.
Okay.
They're discussing the, what's this rise in anti-Semitism that is happening on college campuses. And this is how that conversation went.
And, of course, we do have free speech, and the students had the right to that speech, but they don't have the right to have the leaders of Harvard just condone and ignore those kinds of things. And it was hate speech, and it was threatening to other people on campus, and it's why I, decided to take the stand that I did.
And what would you, if you had been president of Harvard, how would your response have been different than Claudine Gay's response?
Well, I think there should have been an immediate and very strong and unequivocal response, and obviously that did not happen. And look, I was very much looking forward to going to these fellowships. As a guy who worked his way through school at a state university at Florida State, it was a big honor to be invited to come speak, to be a fellow at both the School of Public Health to talk about our nation-leading response on COVID, and to talk at Kennedy School, where I was going to talk about how we, lower the temperature in politics and do away with some of the angry rhetoric and the toxic politics. But this, I wrestled with this decision. I didn't take it lightly, but I thought it was important to take a stand and to try to make a difference and to try to maybe persuade the president of the university to take some further and stronger actions. And I'm not alone. I mean, there's been almost universal condemnation, and members, big donors to the university, and people on the board, and some other faculty, and students were feeling threatened.
So I value free speech, and I despise cancel culture. That being said, there's 3 things I want to say. Number one, the free speech is interesting when we talk about these court cases going to the Supreme Court, because we're talking about the government suppression of speech, not so much social media and what private companies, even though I'm against it, they still have the right to silence that. Number 2, when we talk about free speech, yes, I think I can walk into a movie theater and say and shout fire. Doesn't mean I'm exonerated and protected from the repercussions or the punishments that come along with that. Just like I can't get on the radio and say I'm going to kill you because that would be deemed a threat, and then obviously action can happen by the authorities. But with this Israel and Jewish and Hamas and this pro-Palestinian conversation, here's what I don't understand. It would be deemed hate speech if I said death to gay people. It would be hate speech if I said I want to kill black people. Why is death to Israel and death to the Jews not viewed as hate speech? I don't get.
I will agree with you if we're going down that road, then absolutely what they're saying and what they were protesting absolutely should be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that all of it is nonsense.
Well, I mean, and I think look, if you're pro-Palestinian movement, that's okay. Like to me, there is still a difference in what people are debating. It's the dangerous inflammatory rhetoric of, the annihilation of an entire population that I think qualifies as hate speech. And that's where I do think there needs to be some sort of cap on what you say where it's consequence free.
Consequence, yes, consequence speech. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can't just say anything you want to,
right? And
there not be repercussions. Should what these kids do in college, what they're protesting, should that follow them for life?
No. Of course not.
But if a company looks at what they're saying and says, hey, you know what, I really don't like the fact that you protested, a pro Hamas thing or whatever, then yeah, all of that is fair game. Like, that's consequence culture.
Sure.
What I'm saying is that you can't deem, because, like, in his definition, people were threatened. But, like, who determines what's threatening?
Well, and that's a good question, because everybody claims they're under attack these days, right?
Yes.
We hear that way too much.
Again, what these colleges, I'm not defending them. Trust me, I am not defending them at all. I'm not defending what they said. But, like, you can go down the rabbit hole of calling something threatening speech to anything you say.
Oh, of course. Especially in this generation. You raise your voice to them, they feel threatened.
I mean, us joking about a death pool for Britney Spears could be considered threatening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, even though we're not wishing it,
right?
We're just stating facts.
It's in the eye of the beholder.
So, because this is a little different than a cancel culture situation, what he's saying is he was chosen to participate in a prestigious program, their fellowship program, and to be a speaker. And so he's choosing, in his way, he's denouncing some of what he feels is anti-Semitic. And he's saying, you know what, I don't want to be part of your thing because you should have come out. Okay, they were protesting. They have a right to say whatever they want to say. But you, as Harvard, as an institution, he's saying, you had a responsibility. You're supposed to be the adult in the room. And you should have denounced some of the rhetoric or the chants, etc. It was anti-Semitic behavior.
And let's also,
people were just murdered and slaughtered and raped.
Right. Let's also point at the hypocrisy of Harvard here. Harvard has been shown in these watchdog groups to have the least free speech of any college.
It's unbelievable.
So they don't allow you to say anything on that campus, yet they're permitting this.
That's the point.
There's the hypocrisy of all of it.
And so it. So to me, that's the point that I think that the former Maryland governor is trying to make, that this is not just, you have some rogue students just saying some stuff that deep down I know you denounce.
Yeah.
This is something this is a cause and effect situation. This is something that you all at Harvard, you created this hot mess.
That's correct.
You have to own it.
And by the way, Larry Hogan has as much chance of being president as Hulk Hogan does. Let's clear that up.
I think Hulk Hogan,
has a much better chance than Larry Hogan, actually. I'm moving on to cut 4 here, Daniel. KJP was asked yesterday in the press briefing on if Biden is concerned about a potential rise of anti-Semitism in the country. And
where do you hear this pivot?
Piggybacking off of what Larry Hogan was just talking about, cut 4 here.
Level of concern right now about the potential rise of anti-Semitism in light of everything that's going on in Israel?
So a couple of things. We have not seen any credible threats. I know there's been always questions about credible threats, and so just want to make sure that that's out there. But look, Muslim and those perceived to be Muslim have endured a disproportionate number of hate-fueled attacks. And certainly President Biden understands that many of our Muslim, Arab Americans and Palestinian American loved ones and neighbors are worried about the hate being directed at their communities, and that is something you heard the president speak to in his address just last Thursday. And so one of the things that the president has done is directed his team, Homeland Security team, to prioritize prevention and disruption of any emerging threats that could harm the Jewish, the Muslim, Arab Americans, or any other communities. And that is something that the president has sought to do and since day one. As you know, the president ran on bringing protecting communities, obviously, but bringing people together, protecting the soul of the nation. And so that is something that the president takes very, very seriously. We're going to continue to denounce any sort of hate towards any American here. And so that's what we're going to continue to be steadfast on.
Yeah.
Again, he has directed his Homeland Security team to make sure that they're on top of this.
Wow.
The binder, verbatim from the binder, head down most of the time there. A quick pivot from the anti-Semitism question to the rise of Islamophobia, which, by the way, Democrats are very diabolical. As dumb as she might be in public, they have an agenda, they have a plan. And here's my theory. I think they know that they have the vote of many people of Jewish descent in this country. I think they're planning to try to win over the Arabic community in America.
I agree with you.
I think that could be at play here.
Yep.
It's always next level with these people.
Jeremy Burke on the YouTube chat writes, "This is like listening to a 5-year-old tell you about their day at school."
I know.
I can attest to that every time I ask my son about his day at school.
Yeah.
I get a more coherent answer than she just gave.
You could ask Karine Jean-Pierre what she had for lunch yesterday. She would look down at the binder for the answer.
It's unbelievable. The pivot, though, is something extraordinary.
It's a tell.
It is. Yep.
No doubt about it. All right, coming up next, we will find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show and who won Twitter today and our Game 7 predictions.
Yes.
Does anybody actually have the temerity to go against the home team?
Uh-oh. Well, I guess you need to sit through this short commercial break.
Stick around and find out. Back after this, Kayal and Company.
You're invited to witness a groundbreaking documentary, America's Retirement Dilemma, a documentary of Wall Street's rigged system, featuring powerful exclusive interviews such as the president and CEO of the leading analytics firm over Wall Street, Delbar Incorporated, Lou Harvey, who explains why Wall Street is not set up to have a fiduciary duty to the everyday investor.
Wall Street is not set up to handle a fiduciary relationship. Too expensive to replace all of my compensation systems, retrain all of my people. The whole structure that's been built over the last 100 years would have to be turned on end. I would have to be brutally negative. We have an industry that has been built on caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Hear this and more exclusive interviews with powerful industry leaders, esteemed economists, and top researchers at the Spring Mill Manor, November 14th. Registration is required. Call Crash Proof Retirement, 800-722-9728.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. When it comes to all your home improvement needs, trust is everything. And that's why for years, I've been talking about the amazing work my friends Stephanie and Matt and the entire team at Emmons has done for me and my home. My roof, doors, windows, siding, and yes, remodeling projects. Emmons can bring that same quality of work to all of your kitchen and bathroom remodeling needs. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, and now baths and kitchens. Emmons is the Delaware Valley's one-stop shop for all of your home improvement needs. Call 856-556-3229 and get a free estimate, or go online to emmonsroofing.com, or even better, come visit the Emmons Design Showroom in Cherry Hill. emmonsroofing.com. It's about trust, it's about quality, it's about great work, and that's why me and my family have used them for basically every project we've done to improve our home. emmonsroofing.com.
This is Larry Steinhetz of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what investor schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Your fingerprints in the dark. Your past and present tangled up in my arms.
Kayal and Company, 9:51 Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Don't forget tomorrow, the great Tony Bruno will join us for his weekly appearance right around 8:25. Game 7 tonight for the Phils. We'll find out who won Twitter today. But right now, time to find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show, just 8 minutes out here on this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and we're 8 minutes away from so many breaking, developing stories. We have Trump going into the Manhattan court, but as well facing off with Michael Cohen, his, past ally, now enemy. So that testimony, so we may catch Trump going in. So we'll take that live if that happens. We have the House Speaker issue as they try to sort that out in the with Republicans in the House of Representatives. And then, of course, moving forward through noon today, we have the funeral going on for our Philadelphia fallen. So all three of those developing stories, whether nationally, locally. And then, of course, we'll update you this latest with Iran reportedly actively facilitating at least some of these attacks on U.S. military bases. There's a lot of activity going on as we enter day 18 of the war in Israel there. So we're following those latest developments as well. 10:05, Todd Shepard, Broad and Liberty, his latest investigation. He's a great investigative reporter. You want to hear what he has to say. And then coming up at 11, we'll have Jennifer Stefano of the Philadelphia Inquirer. So we'll talk about the Philadelphia. There's a lot going on locally, nationally, but we'll break down her latest Inquirer article talking about Jewish donors and allies' letters to Penn, exposing what they call the moral rot in American higher education, and her reaction to that cartoon as well.
Okay.
Jam-packed.
Very good. All right, Greg Stocker, 9:53. Let's find out who won Twitter today.
Who won Twitter?
The greater Chris wins Twitter, and he says, here's where Nancy Pelosi switches parties and immediately gets 217 votes for speaker. Happy Halloween.
Please don't bother me with such frivolity, okay? Oh, my, that is the tweet of the week.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the greater Chris.
That's a great one.
Really well.
It's been a while since we've heard from Chris
I
on
know.
Twitter. Yeah. All right, welcome back, Chris.
Yeah.
He once commented that I never retweet anything that he does or respond to anything that he says, so...
Really?
I just wanted to give him. That's a great tweet, but I responded to something he said the other day just because I don't really retweet anybody.
No, you don't. You're not very into
unless it's promoting, something for
like our clips that we post. Yeah.
That's all I really.
Yeah, you give Chris's a lot of love. The greater Chris Ippolito. You're active in the Chris community on Twitter.
I am very active in the Chris community. Thank you for that, Nick.
You're welcome.
And his wife and daughter went to see Taylor Swift movie Eras, just like you, Nick Kayal.
Oh, they did? It's good parenting.
So
yeah, sometimes you got to set your personal interests aside for the betterment of the kiddos. All right, let's make some predictions. Game 7 tonight. Phillies, first time in franchise history.
Dawn up $80.
Dawn's up $80.
Woo, which is all for Travis Mannion.
Nick
And-
owes 60. Greg owes 20.
Can I finance that over 48 months?
No, it's all eventually going to go to families, back in the badge, and also Travis Mannion.
Okay, very good.
Right.
I guess I'll lead off. I'm going to take the Phillies. I just can't imagine they lose 2 games in a row at home.
The just so you know, the over/under, and I'm going with the FanDuel spread here, is 8.5.
Yeah. I've got the under. I'm going to go Phillies 4.
Okay.
Diamondbacks 2. I think Ranger Suarez can get us at least 4 good innings tonight. He's going to be on a pitch count. There'll be a bullpen game after that. And as soon as it goes wrong, everyone will go on Twitter and say Rob Thompson's an idiot. But I think the Phillies get it done, and extra grease on the polls is the way to go tonight.
Yeah, baby. I'll go next, I guess. I'm going to take the over at the 8.5. I'm going to go the Phillies 6 and the Diamondbacks 4.
Okay.
So they'll score 10 runs combined.
And Dawn, you're going to take Arizona again?
No.
No?
And I never took Arizona. I just said, because today would have been my mom's birthday, October 24th. I had a weird feeling about yesterday, and so I just predicted that we would clinch it today. So history, Game 7, we clinch it. And I don't even think it's going to be close. I think we're going to get in there. The fans are going to go crazy.
Wow.
And it's going to be a blowout.
Uh-oh.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Blowout.
Can you predict a score, please, since we're betting on this?
And say it the wrong way. Say it like 2-9.
Can you predict the score, please?
You better keep your mouth closed.
I think I'm going to say, you know what I'm going to say? That we win 9-3.
9-3.
Okay, there we
I'd
go.
like that.
9-3.
Okay,
I will
Dawn.
gladly take that.
Shafe on the YouTube chat says, Dawn, wait, hang on. I just lost it.
Oh, sugar.
Dawn put the whammy on the Phillies with yesterday's pick.
Oh, no.
It was your fault.
I did. I had this weird vibe all day.
Yeah.
You did. All right. We'll see how it plays out tonight.
So one more time, Nick, 6-2, is that what you said?
No, 4-3.
4-3, I'm sorry. 4-3.
4-3.
I said 9-3.
Greg 6-4, and Dawn 9-3.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6, and as our fearless leader would say,
all right, God save the Queen, man.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000